This is a Clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud live with you in the Weather Center on this Saturday evening, tracking a severe thunderstorm situation in the Big Bend of Florida right now. I know earlier on watching it, posting about it, but it's looking more marginal. But now things have kind of escalated here in northeastern Leon County, seeing some stronger winds here showing up within our Doppler algorithms as this moves closer toward Interstate 10. So I know folks traveling here on this holiday weekend. I just want to make sure you guys are aware, but we were already again giving you the heads up on Facebook and Twitter, but things a little bit more escalated in terms of needing to come live now here as we're seeing some stronger wind signatures here on our Doppler algorithms. They're right over the interstate. It looks like as we're looking there, intersecting US 90. So let's go ahead and jump on over here to one of our other modes real quick. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Seeing some of these stronger winds here coming into play. So here's that vantage point right here over the interstate. You can see it. There's US 90 there, this area right in there. And there's your Interstate 10 area. But even out toward the east, we're seeing some maybe circulation try to come together in some ways. So we need to watch that as well. Earlier on, looking out toward the west, we were seeing some hail signatures, but some things came together with the setup here to kind of ramp this up. So the fifth thunderstorm warning remained in effect until about 6:30 for northeastern Leon. But now a new warning has been issued till 7 o'clock for much of Jefferson County here with a severe thunderstorm at 6:01 located 8 miles northeast of Tallahassee, moving southeast at 35 miles an hour. So Monticello in this warning here, but some areas toward the south of there as well. Maybe watching this, needing to watch this a little closer. So watching the situation carefully here as we're looking at some of our different tools here in the Weather Center, giving you guys the very latest on what's going on. I know just checking some of our different details here that are coming on in. I am going to try to pull up our Florida 501 camera system since some of the worst of this looks to be close, if not right over now, in some of those latest scans, the interstate region. So this is if you're headed out of Tallahassee, if you're going toward the east, or if you're headed toward the west, it's as you start to head more in toward Tallahassee here, as you kind of move ahead in that timeline. So just trying to see. I know it looks like some of our cameras here. I had some up here in this area, and some of them are having some issues now. So that could be indicative of those winds kind of having an impact. I'm gonna go ahead and see. There should be some other ones that are available, but they're not in the greatest views. So just kind of trying to let you guys know exactly what's going on right now here in this type of setup as these conditions have deteriorated out there toward I-10. It looks like here in eastern Leon toward western Jefferson counties. So again, a nasty situation here right now. These winds, I mean, not just the winds, but hail threat could be there too. But it also, even there's, as the weather service is telling us, a very large amount of cloud to ground lightning with the south. So it's kind of maybe making it sound pretty frightening in some regard for some folks. So got to be kind of aware of that here. I know this seeing we have a fifth thunderstorm watching for you as well, but it was looking more like a summertime storm earlier on, but now it's evolved into more of a potent storm here as you see. Again, maybe some weak rotation right over the interstate. We're having some trouble with those cameras, so this could be developing into something a little bit here. I know I have cameras further away, but right in here I'm having trouble getting to the cameras right now. So I need to go ahead and make sure you guys are taking this seriously here in case we get a quick spin up even. If not that, a quick burst of wind energy right around the Interstate 10 area there in toward eastern Leon and western Jefferson. So again, kind of taking a little bit of a escalation here on us pretty quickly. Again, earlier on more summertime pop-up type stuff, but it really came together. Some things here in this setup have helped it do so. I'll kind of back it up if you want to kind of watch what I'm talking about. So earlier on, we kind of had this area here from the west, this area from the north, and it kind of merged here in toward this box. And then sometimes when stuff merges, it weakens down. And this setup here, it seems to have caused things to become a little more substantial here. And that can sometimes even lead to some quick circulations to evolving in some of these in some of this activity. So just gotta be kind of mindful of that as we're looking here. We did get a report of a gust of 40 miles an hour from a weather sim station at Montford Middle School here over the last few moments. That's off just to the north and west at this point of where we're watching this. The worst maybe just to the east, but yeah, it definitely looks like there's some spin here now. As again, we had two storms kind of merge, So definitely good to kind of have that advanced warning here as we're looking toward parts of Leon County there with that severe thunderstorm warning that went into play a while ago with this potential earlier on. Not much from those storms when they came together. Sometimes you have things kind of weaken on down fizzle, but instead this really this setup here kind of promoted this to be a little more prominent. So I know this setup, this is a lot more reminiscent of a severe thunderstorm watch type of storm now than what we were looking at earlier on. We had quarter size here west of the area, but not too much from it around Quincy. Only a gust in the 20s there with that warning out to the west and toward that region there of Gaston County. But again, I'm just trying to give you, I know it's been a long week here. We're almost kind of through the worst of things here as we look ahead to Father's Day. It looks like things will be nicer here in terms of the weather for most of our area now. So that's kind of some better news here. I know the modeling had been showing some stuff here, looking, as we head in toward that timeline, maybe be a little bit wet still next week, but at least for Father's Day things still be clearing on out to some extent here now. That's a little bit of a change. I mean, the models have been kind of switching back and forth here on us from time to time. It's been, again, a period where we've had warnings for at least the last 6 days that we've had to be on for now. It's just kind of crazy. I know we were on last Sunday for some stuff with a power outage that may or may not have been because of weather toward areas in north central Florida. But looking here right now, I just watching things in toward this Big Bend region. You can see here, and looking at some of these winds here on our Doppler, kind of giving you guys an idea of what's going on here. You can kind of just note here that this maybe a little more uncertain in terms of those winds getting down toward the surface in these latest scans, but still a nasty situation here as we see our coverage map. Just reminding you guys where we're at with this. I know we're in Bradford County, North Central Florida, but this is toward parts of Leon and Jefferson now. More that's moving toward Jefferson there. And we're now being told of a new warning now for portions of Lafayette, Madison, and Taylor counties until 7:45. That is coming out from the National Weather Service in Tallahassee now. Again, to repeat, portions of Lafayette as well as Madison and Taylor counties under a new severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45. So definitely worth noting there. We're also getting some power outage updates in here, so let me go ahead and check on those from FloridaPowerOutage.us. Seeing a few folks in some of our counties without power now. Actually, in Gadsden, I know it looks like almost 2,000 on Talquin without electricity. We weren't seeing that strong of a signature on radar, but there's always a chance one or two things that might have caused some power there to be knocked out. So just got to keep that in mind. And even, I mean, they're still in a situation where they were hit by Hurricane Michael there back in 2018. So I know as we're looking further out toward the west, some things maybe getting close, I mean, to normal here in terms of aspects, but maybe in some of the areas where you have the power equipment and the like, it's not out of the question that there could be things that kind of maybe cause that power to go out a little bit easier. Not out of the question, but let's go ahead and go back on over right now. Go back on over here to order other view. This is that new severe thunderstorm warning just popping on up now. Reporting to Lafayette, Taylor, and Madison counties until 7:45. At 6:15, the severe thunderstorm located 10 miles west of Monticello there is moving southeast at 35. So you can see we kind of have gotten bigger and bigger with the polygons. I mean, it doesn't always happen like this, but it seems like the threat's kind of become a little more magnified now. So it's not just includes areas further out to the west with the threat, like what we had toward and still have toward areas around Monticello and southward. Have different areas in that warning. I mean, you can go all over that Jefferson region with the warning, Scylla there, Wassissa Springs, Lloyd, Wakena. Now, as you look off toward the east and south, you have this warning going from Mayo, Madison, Perry. Yet again, they had that tornado F1 yesterday confirmed by the Weather Service. That was early yesterday. We had other debris signatures in the counties indicating apparent tornadoes, maybe large tornadoes as well. Those seem to have been more in rural areas, but I know we're still kind of trying to figure some of the final details out on those areas. But again, severe thunderstorm warning now at 7:45 as things have become more explosive here in terms of the storms across the region. So Again, let's just go ahead and check on some more things here. And when I say across the region, I mean this part of our region. I mean other areas here not having to deal with things as nasty. But let's go ahead and go on over here. Let's go on over here toward our other mode. I know you can kind of see the broad perspective here. And even a storm in parts of areas there of Madison County now becoming a little bit stronger. It would seem out ahead. Maybe that could help disrupt things toward the west, possibly, but definitely seeing some more vigorousness with this action. You can see earlier on our Siri predator sometimes can help you with the overall intensity of storms. Not always, but you look around Quincy there, you don't have much of the yellows, meaning we didn't have a lot going on with this. But as you guys know, northeastern Leon here, this is what we came on because started seeing the yellows and reds, some spin, some stronger setups here happening as indicated by our Doppler algorithms. So this is still something that we're having to look at here as we're just watching that spin there toward the interstate a bit. So we have to watch that as it moves in out of Leon toward Jefferson there, as we're seeing that on some of our current mode. Just an analysis source. Sometimes it takes it a couple moments to catch up on things, but as we look there, we have a slew of warnings now, really, because of this area of intense convection. So again, watching things very carefully. Let me see if we have any cameras that we can go to. I'll check again here. See if any of them are coming on up. I know we had some views from them earlier with the still images, and I see it was getting pretty nasty looking. But in terms of live views, it seems like those must have went down here. Maybe some type of storm issue knocking out some power there, as maybe you would kind of think based on how things ramped up on the Doppler scans there pretty quickly. So seemed like right before I went on, I had those cameras ready to go here, but that was no longer available for us in a pretty wide stretch. So some issues there. I don't know exactly how. Okay, here we go to the east. We got a camera now. Okay, this is going to be mile marker 224.7. This is around Drifton. I know I clicked on several cameras. We weren't getting anything, but this one is still working for now. I guess I better take it before it goes down here as well. So let's go ahead and take this full. You can see what we're talking about. This is the area that intersects with the US 19 Florida Georgia Parkway area. So again, trying to give you an idea of what's going on here toward parts of the Big Bend region. Maybe you saw some different things. Maybe that's hail that we were seeing. I didn't get a good look, but you see all that lightning. I know they're talking in the chat. When the storms came together, I really saw the lightning come into play here. Come into play at that cloud to ground potential. So you're knowing about the side. It's a Saturday. People with a stormy week trying to enjoy their weekend when things were clear. They're still clear like where we're at east of Stark right now. We had some rain this morning, but you can't do it if you're that thunder rumble. You got to be inside because you can't be messing around in these type of situations. So again, that's kind of the storyline right now as we're continuing to look at things here in the weather center. I know we even have a threat toward Oklahoma. Again, wind, hail, maybe even some tornadoes out there. Tornado warnings toward Beaver and Texas counties. It looks like toward that region in Cimarron County. I'm looking at one of the sources showing that. But again, you can kind of see these more deteriorating conditions here as we're looking there further on off toward the east. So you can see some folks with their flashers on as well. So just going to go ahead and continue to watch things here. Let me just see exactly where we're at with that. That's, again, the intersection there closer to US 19. So let me find that on my map here. That actually, that's US, it looks like. Let's see where we're at here. US 221. So this is toward Drifton. So we need to go further back. Okay, so let me go ahead and switch you over to our analyst computer now. So this is around Drifton there, US 19. Yes, some of the worst is about to move in there. It looks like that wasn't even the worst yet. This is from about a minute ago. So, man, I know this is what it was looking like a lot better earlier on before the weather came in. Let me see the radar real quick up and now. This is the view. Storm's moving on there. And let's go back to that camera, and that might be about the best shot we're going to get of this here. Maybe before they lose power, I might go one back just in case we can get something there a little bit more. Okay, it's already down just to the west. Let's see if this one's down now. Okay, it's still working for now, but it doesn't look really dramatic. It's just a one-man band here, so I'm trying to do the best I can. Okay, the one to the west is down 2, or east is down 2, so Let's try to just see what we might have out of this one. This here then. Let's go live again, giving you some of these different visuals here across the area. Tell you this full, so you guys can kind of get an idea of what's going on here in parts of our area. So try to give you a window to the world where you don't have to look out your window, because you don't want to be near those windows right now if you're in this area, because whenever that thunder roars, it's best. And when you have a severe thunderstorm warning in play, obviously too, you don't want to be near those windows. You want to get closer toward that center part of your home. I mean, it's not a tornado warning formally, but still, you kind of get the idea. And I think that one is that going down here. It looked like it might have just went down on us here too. So not going to guarantee it, because there's always a chance it could pop back up. But at least we were able to give you a little bit of a shot out here towards some of that storminess. But let's get back to the velocity again. The velocity is indicative here. There's a brighter red, indicative of stronger winds here, as we're looking at it from the radar in Tallahassee. So again, that's kind of your storyline there right now. Just trying to see what we might have. More cameras down, folks. So, and even more cameras down. So that indicates probably some power outages escalating. Okay, this camera's still up. Mile marker 227.6. I-10. Let's go over here now. Giving you that live view. That live view here. See you guys what's going on here in this type of setup. Just trying to check some different things on our other computers. See, the power outage numbers have gone up indoor parts of Leon. I know it's just crazy to look at what we had out toward Texas, Louisiana. There were some of these areas here. Wind is coming down yesterday morning to the surface, and now the temperatures are so warm, so that's really dangerous out toward areas there further in our country. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. Hot weather without power, that can turn deadly. So as we look here live, though, again, trying to give you this shot, I'm going to go ahead and go on over here. It looks like Leon 1,163 customers in the dark. Nothing like what we had so far back on, I believe it was Wednesday night here. You know, we've had so many different events, but that was a really nasty wind event there that we had a destructive warning on further up towards southwest Georgia with. But almost 2,000 customers in the dark there. In Gadsden, 261 so far in Jefferson. So that's kind of the storyline there here at this hour. Again, this side isn't as dramatic as maybe you would think it would be here at this point, which is some good news. But there's some flashes of lightning that would appear in toward this area. So again, I'm trying to give you guys a heads up. But I want to do something else here. We'll keep checking these cameras. Obviously, I mean, actually, as you look here before I jump away, look at this. And you can't see my cursor very good, but if you can kind of make it out, well, I'll move it off because here I make my cursor out, but you see the wind kind of going in front of some of those trucks there live on the screen. So again, some of the different vehicles and indicative. It looks like it's kind of deteriorating maybe a little bit here. I have to look at this shot, so just trying to give you guys a view here on what's going on what's been, again, a very long week, maybe one of the longer weeks of severe weather we've had since I've been doing this over the last few years. I mean, you do not get tornado warnings like we're getting here in the summer time frame, like we've been seeing here going back there Wednesday and then early Friday. If you're with us in the overnight hours, it returned into a tornado warning stream from the flash flood emergency stream around Pensacola, and then we ended up having to do another stream. More threats in play, and still, again, this right now showing threats of dangerous lightning, heavy rain, gusty to damaging winds, and some large hail here toward part of Jefferson County. Again, I-10 mile marker 227.6. Just trying to give you these visuals right now. Let's go ahead and move away from it for this time at this point, but we'll jump back on over here and just see some of the stronger winds of velocity. I'm going to go ahead and jump to some of our other broad perspectives, though. Let's do that here in the weather center. We'll go ahead and jump on. You can see how hot it is in some of these areas. They lost power and they're in the 90s today. Heat index value is well over 100. That is a combination for disaster, really. I mean, folks, without methods there, maybe to stay cool. And and that can be really problematic. So gotta keep that in our minds there. But just checking some more information here in the Weather Center right now, trying to give you guys the very latest. Give you guys the very latest here. We're gonna go ahead and zoom back over to the east now. I know we've had a chance to really warm up today, which could work against us here. I mean, the models have been kind of wavering back and forth on some different things, but looking at our current temperature, you had heat index. I had heat indexes on the screen for you guys there, but we're gonna go ahead and look at this view right now. Again, seeing the three other boxes, they kept getting bigger. That threat seemingly becoming a little bit more problematic, a little bit clearer there on some of our Doppler algorithms. Again, just trying to see that, just trying to see exactly what's going on here as time gets a little bit later on us here, as we're moving into toward the evening. So, I mean, folks have plans here. Folks have plans here, and some of them are being instructed here on a Saturday night after it's already been a long week here, a long week. I mean, and now you have more storms impacting some of your weekend plans that you might have had. I mean, it's that extended weekend, so I mean, as you're looking ahead here, at least tomorrow looks a little bit better here for many of us. Had some chances here to go out and about the other day, at least for what it's worth. I do want to make note there was earlier a confirmed tornado reported out here further west of Pensacola. I mean, they were hammered so much early yesterday with the rainfall there, with that rainfall causing all that blast flooding. But there was a confirmed tornado reported around 4:50 Central Time, 12 miles west of Gonzales. That was from the public. So definitely you have to always be mindful of some of these different concerns that we might have here in these type of setups. So I know we're getting a warning for Suwannee County, so we're going to keep checking on things. I'll be back here in just a few moments at about 6:35. So keep it tuned to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center right now, 6:35 on this Saturday. A new severe thunderstorm warning is coming out for areas of Suwannee County there, in the ward portions of north central Florida. That goes till 7 o'clock. At 6:30, a severe thunderstorm there, not too far away from Live Oak being indicated. So Live Oak, Wilborn, as well as it looks like O'Brien, McAlpin, under this Branford, Hildreth, New Bern, and Houston. So just got to be kind of mindful here. Weather Service just telling us in the chat that trend in thunderstorms will be bringing heavy rainfall here, so have a potential for localized flooding occurring for areas along the west of the 75 I-75 corridor with merging cells over Suwannee. They've resulted in looks like some strong thunderstorm formation capable of producing some pretty nasty winds and hail. So gotta keep that in mind here. I know again tonight we have these storms still around. Tomorrow a little bit of a break and it'll be more of a summertime pattern. Next week not as much in the way of tornadic activity or anything like that we wouldn't think, but we'll have moisture coming in from the south. So just kind of having more storms around here and kind of a wet pattern that you would expect here maybe for the summertime period, that meteorological summer versus what we've been in, which is a much different pattern with all these watches and warnings popping up. But doesn't mean we won't get pop-up warnings next week. We probably will, but just kind of get the idea of it. I mean, at least we'll get some of them. But again, so we have these warnings on the board right now. We're also being told from about 6:15 since we were on here, this happened, it seems, around, it looks like, areas in eastern Leon County. 6 trees were knocked down in a community there. So just kind of giving you an idea. Let me see where that is. You can kind of see where we're talking there. Just south of the interstate, right about where we're having trouble getting the cameras there. So there's downtown Tallahassee. This is where the report is, where I have my little, that's about where I thought you might start getting reports based on what I see on our Doppler algorithms here. Again, 6 trees knocked down. That could even indicate, honestly, you hear that many in that sort of a distance, that could indicate a quick spin of tornado occurred. We're seeing that circulation come into play there, and that's a tough spot sometimes for the radar to pick up on. Seems like we've had that issue there in that spot earlier on in the year. So, but we're seeing a lot of wind there. We just weren't seeing the spin. Maybe we have to go to the Moody radar to look back because earlier in the year we had something that looked different through different radars there. So I don't know if that was ended up being a tornado, but still, it was a situation there. It was a situation we had all that wind there. All that wind, Roy, coming on down to the surface, and I believe even we had a fatality there from the event that I'm thinking about from earlier on in the year there toward northern Leon County. But going ahead and going back on over here toward our other view here right now, you can see we have some strong wind around Lamont. These winds here going to be moving in toward Madison County here over the next few moments. Let's look at the wind in our Suwannee County axis. Let's go over to the other Doppler radar source. Then we'll go ahead and go in from the north and kind of, you see all this lightning here south of Live Oak, especially here. You see these different areas like New Bern there, McAlpin. So let's go ahead and back this on up just a little bit here. And you can kind of see this about when that warning was being issued there. Well, that's the other warning to the west. So when this warning right here was being issued, is right around that 6:30 benchmark, and you can see here, don't see a lot of wind there on that one mode, but on this mode it shows up maybe a little bit better. Let me check our storm motion. It doesn't show up as well, and once we kind of clarify that for the right storm motion. But so the worst of the lightning to the south here, maybe get a strike or two on Live Oak. Still gotta be careful here as we go ahead and zoom back out. Let's go ahead and zoom back on over here. I know, I'll be curious to hear if the power outage numbers go up in Leon, considering that report of 6 trees down. You don't generally hear that often in a pretty confined area like that. We are getting a report of 1 tree down there in Gadsden County. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, it doesn't always take severe winds. Here, talking about earlier in the week, doesn't always take severe winds here to cause stuff to be damaged. I mean, you can have 40 to 50 mile an hour gust here and knock a tree down like what we just heard about there 2 miles north of Littman there in part of Gaston County, where law enforcement reported a tree down on the road. So again, just kind of letting you guys know about that there. We're just going to go ahead and continue to look at things here in the Weather Center right now. You can see this core here. It is showing little bit of stronger hail core around New Bern. That's kind of how we were seeing on this mode. This storm pulse up there in eastern Leon and North Jefferson. We saw this area there in Madison County kind of pulse up there on it too. As we were looking at that, that was closer there in between Greenville and Shermans. So again, just continuing to watch things here. I know they're talking about some things in the chat too at this moment. I know they're busy here is what they're referencing, but they're still trying to figure out some tornado debris signatures from then and figure out what is going to be and what has needed to really be surveyed. So again, that's just show you how busy the week has been. But going ahead and zooming back out here, we're going to show you guys a whole view. You can see a lot of it is staying pretty dry right now, but we'll look at our energy values. They're pretty high. I mean, these are some pretty high values here across our area. Our STP values, they're up there more than I would like to see them, to be quite honest. These values are just a little bit lower than what we had back on that Friday morning, or that overnight period between Thursday night and Friday there. Really, we're busy. These numbers here were closer to a 1 then. I'm looking right now, they're about 0.7. So if we can get some storms to really become more discrete, they might be able to hold together in an environment like this. But if they're too clustered together, then that might not happen. But that was such a really kind of odd situation there. You ever have stuff a little bit more isolated, so they were able to take advantage, and that accident was able to take advantage of the environment it was in, versus needing to really compete for what we have, because these values are enough here to get a spin-up tornado from Lake City to Stark down through Trenton, Gainesville, and Ocala if we get the right setup in place. So keep that in mind. We'll be watching it here. We'll be tracking that yellow area here again. That's definitely it has enough energy, it looks like. I mean, these energy values may be a little lower than we had in that one little isolated area near the coast too, but we'll be watching it. We'll be tracking it here just in case we really started to get some stuff to be able to mature and stay on its own. It may not be able to. And that setup was so unique because the east we didn't have the energy, so we didn't have stuff forming to the east to knock this storm action down back west. It wasn't taking away its energy. So again, we're just going to keep looking at things. Let's take a look at some of the total cloud tops right now. Well, first off, we'll see the visible. I know I generally keep this on infrared, but I was looking at some stuff visible behind the scenes, and this does a good job, actually. I mean, you can see these are some really interesting cloud tops in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll watch some of that to see if that kind of translates on off towards some land areas of note later on. And then you see here over parts of our viewing circle here, Jefferson County, Madison County, and Suwannee County. They're pretty nasty cloud tops. There's toward this severe thunderstorm watch that's in Pluto 9. We do have the 5% risk there. We'll try that again. This for tornadoes further out toward the west. We did have a confirmed tornado out there, and then our area is at 2% in this region in the green. Didn't have one of those even back on Thursday night and a Friday there, which it was such a unique setup, so unusual and not really a pattern you're generally in. But still, it goes to say we can't completely roll a quick spin up. It would have to be in the right spot. Though, when we have had one in eastern Leon to western Jefferson with a report of 6 trees down. That's why I jumped on, because we're seeing some stuff that we didn't like there versus how it looked earlier on, more of what you see in the summer. That's something that was more like what we've been seeing all week here with stuff over the top. But there's a hail risk there, 15% in the yellow, 5% in the green. Same for your wind there. So, gonna keep our eyes on that. Let's go ahead and go on over now to the west and the north, because I want to focus real quick. There's another threat toward Oklahoma tonight of severe weather concern. The tornado watch, tornado warning there, Beaver and Texas counties in Oklahoma. We don't want to discount stuff in the panhandles after what we had happen there toward Perryton there in Ogletree County, Texas, back on Thursday with those fatalities happening. So I know you hear that beep, that stuff referenced earlier in the week here in the chat. So we'll kind of dive more into that again in a moment. But again, you see our different risks. This is a slight risk here, even down toward Tampa. We need to watch, because sometimes I know, I was thinking the other night, if we ended up getting a situation like we did in Taylor County, there's large debris signatures in the middle of the night toward like Hillsborough County or something like that, it could have been disastrous. So if we weren't really letting people know ahead of time, you don't see the STP values down there right now though, which is good, but we'll just keep our eyes on things. You do have some super cell composite values. These values aren't as high and those numbers like what we had the other night. But we'll just keep our eyes on things. Looking here, I want to see a risk there. Enhanced risk for Dallas. They don't need them severe weather. They've already had power outages and they've had the heat. Now they're going to get more storms. If they got them during the day, it'd be one thing because they could knock down temperatures if they weren't as intense. But at night, I mean, they're not going to help you as much. They're just going to knock down more power. So it's really problematic. People can be losing their lives out there because of that heat and they don't have electric for that long. Like they're seeing out in the ward areas like Northeast Texas there, Louisiana, like northern central Louisiana and central Mississippi. So got to keep that in mind. Let me go ahead and go back to that local view for now. That will take off our risk area. And they're talking about here in the chat, tornado surveys. Again, there's an EF1 in Taylor County back there early Friday. Some other areas we had tornado touchdowns based on debris signatures, but they're saying they haven't really seen any damage reports from those counties of Clay and Clipman and Georgia. And the tornado in follow stopped just before Clipman, so Clipman County. So their knowledge at this point, they're not planning any surveys there unless they hear of any damage. So kind of a unique situation with all the winds we've had this week. I mean, you know, in this type of setup, we've really just been seeing things there come together where we've had tornadoes and sometimes you have wind overdose, and it's almost important to just kind of realize there was a tornado that came on through there or something different, because have those pictures there or have some type of understanding of that, or it might be kind of hard to know for sure if the winds are strong enough, because we generally don't get tornadoes followed up by just a really significant wind. I mean, they're this straight line versus tornadic, but kind of after the fact there, if you have both, it kind of, like we've seen in storm systems before. I mean, this was on a much higher level than what we're seeing now, but think of Hurricane Laura. I remember all these tornado warnings popping up, but we had winds just as strong around those, so you couldn't really tell the difference. This may be a little bit different, but the winds with the tornadoes be a little bit stronger. You'll be able to make it out to some degree, depending on areas. Some areas it's a lot more obvious if they didn't get the wind as strong, but I'm talking about like areas in southwest Georgia even, or even areas further on out there in the views. So, again, just kind of trying to bring you guys up to date on what's going on. Again, we're live right now on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Twitch. So thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me for another day of severe coverage. Again, right now, the view does so severe thunderstorm warnings continuing for portions of Lafayette, Madison, and Taylor. That one goes there to 2345Z, which gets us out to 745. We have another one here for Suwannee County, which is till 7. And then the one further back for Jefferson is till 7. So I know the one in the middle goes the longest. That's where we have the biggest cluster and stuff. I mean, if you're in Suwannee, we could have more of this coming in, almost like training activity here over that area, which could be a problem here later on. So that's where the stuff's been kind of the worst there further on out with that accent. But yeah, that's coming Suwannee there as well. We could end up getting some flash flooding concern, and now they've been concerned about in the chat Gainesville, Cala maybe later tonight, because see all the rain I got this morning. We had a pretty nasty storm and leave. You didn't get a warning, by the way, but a situation here that we did end up with some power outages there, and then they had some heavy rainfall. These numbers here, as we look west of Bronson, indicate 3 inches of rain or so there east of Treatland there, and then you see southwest of Ocala over 4 inches. So if we were to get another few inches, we might get some flash flood warnings popping up later tonight. So to watch to see if we get lucky or unlucky with the movement of these and the certain directions that these areas take. So, again, I know we're on six days of this now, so sometimes we're a loss for words, so I apologize. But it's just a one-man band. We're trying to do the best we can to protect you, your friends, and your family. So, again, let's go ahead and just look around here on the mapping. You can see here out toward, again, part of that Oklahoma panhandle tonight. We're tracking a possible tornadic situation in Beaver County. Again, we had that deadly tornado. There was, as of last time I was able to look at details on that, it was at least considered an EF2. And I know the structures out, you have mobile homes and the like being impacted there toward some of these different spots. I'll go ahead and zoom in here. I know they're not anything to say right now, narrator, but this is what we're talking about. This town here in the northern Texas panhandle of Perryton. I think I've got that pronunciation right now on there, but yeah, we had some fatalities being reported there. The mobile home park just saw just so devastating of damage so many mobile homes impacted there, and sometimes in the mobile home setups, it doesn't take quite as strong of winds to be problematic. But going back over here right now, let's check our velocities again. We haven't done that in a few minutes. So let's go ahead and jump back to our analyst computer. I'll see what we've got here on our velocities. Looks like the Swanee one might be the strongest here right now. That couldn't make sense because that's out on the leading edge, able to take advantage of more of an untapped environment. So you can see southwest of Live Oak, we're seeing winds there that could be closer to 50 miles an hour showing up on our velocities. We're not seeing the signature quite like what we saw earlier on. Further out, where we had those reports coming in out toward eastern Leon, that one report of at least 6 trees knocked down. That's really impressive. Again, that indicates to me if it was in a really confined area like it sounded like it was, either a burst of wind energy or maybe a quick spin up tornado. We had some spin there in that area right around the interstate, and we lost our camera at about that time. They were trying to pull them up and couldn't get to them in that area. That was indicative. I mean, right before it came on, we had them and then talked for a few minutes, gave the overview on some stuff, and then went back to them. And then they weren't available anymore, so that kind of says you some issues maybe arose. Checking right now here, power outage map. Okay, we're seeing quite a number of outages now in Leon and Jefferson. So sometimes these take a little bit of time some time to populate here on our map. So I know in this type of setup here, these storms may have been able to mature a little bit more too to get that wind down to the surface, but instead of the low numbers we were reporting earlier on, we now have over 7,000 customers in the dark in Leon County and over 1,800 in the dark in Jefferson, which, I mean, that's about 25%, no less than 25% of that county. So that's kind of problematic then. So we got to keep our eyes on that. Let's go ahead and go back on over here. We're just going to keep on checking things in our different toolkits that we have. I mean, checking with the National Weather Service there in Tallahassee, Weather Service in Jacksonville, our power outage maps. You kind of get the idea here. It's just all about protecting you, your friends, and your family. So, and giving you that information that you need and that you desire here. So let's go back out on our maps. It seems like it's just a little weaker than it was, which is good. Maybe that merging of the axis here and the peak of our storm threat here, maybe in this part of our region has kind of passed, and we'll have to see if this kind of is in a more favorable environment here. Still could have flash flooding in some of these areas later and the like. They're expiring the warning for Jefferson now, as some of that axis and the worst has moved off toward the east. But I know just checking some different things here. The storm west of Bainbridge getting a little bit stronger. See how much energy we have over there. We still have a lot of energy, so I have to watch that. Just a severe thunderstorm watch till 9 o'clock, watching for that severe thunderstorm potential here. So just got to keep our eyes on things here in the weather center. But I'll go ahead and zoom back out. We're finding out some different details right now here. And it is your risk area, but then also we're being told of a mesoscale discussing now. Okay, this is an interesting area. Further up toward the north, they're talking about isolated thunderstorm developments possible across Alabama and Georgia next few hours, but sporadic wind gusts and small hail possible. That shouldn't be really something overwhelming. So that's kind of the storyline there. That's the storyline there. What we'll just continue to watch. Okay, we're now getting reports from emergency management here in Jefferson County. The dispatch reporting multiple trees down and powered out throughout the county, with hail reported in Lloyd. So again, they went through a pretty nasty situation then toward Jefferson County over the last little bit. That's why we were jumping on. We saw how things, they looked more summertime-ish out toward the west there. But then they moved back into that storminess did when the two storms merged more into something more meaty, for lack of a better term, more vigorous here in terms of really getting that wind down toward the surface. And this looks to be like one of the worst storms we've had this week. I mean, in some regard, at least toward that part of our region, probably the worst they've had from eastern Leon and toward Jefferson there. So, I mean, getting reports of numerous trees down, power out throughout the county. Not what you want to hear in Jefferson. And that number I gave you might be just the early number. Once the data trickles on in there and more power outage source details come on in, that number could be more in terms of those without electricity there in Jefferson County. So looking here right now, northwest of Bainbridge, that situation seems to be escalating a little bit. But I don't know if that's just, that could be overdoing it for the time period, but let's go ahead and jump back on over here. I want to check the other source. I don't know exactly what we might have. Looks like don't have a anything but just a storm here without even an advisory at this point. So it may not be as strong. Algorithm might be picking up. Yeah, it went down that quick there. Algorithm may be picking up one strong storm, maybe enough for an advisory, but maybe not enough for a warning here at this point. So again, we're just going to keep watching that. I know we're being told now they're dropping the warning here for Suwannee County now. So, but okay, just talking about here some stuff. Okay, this is not what you want to hear. This coming in. This would have to have been from a little bit earlier then, because of the timeline with this. And here's our report. I might be able to back this up on our radar. They're saying this came in at 6:54, but we're being told multiple trees down on Muskogee Road has now caused several cars to become trapped on the roadway there. That's really sounding a little bit serious. I mean, I'm trying to use a little bit dire. Actually, the phrasing I wanted to use there, but it definitely sounds really serious. Is we're trying to go at that. So again, I report. I know it's after the fact, but let's just try to figure out when that might have happened. So I'm gonna try to go here. Back this up a little bit more here, maybe. So that report, I probably need to just plot it. So this, because it's not, they didn't do the OSR at the right time, but we'll go ahead and back this on up. Looks like about 612 or so. Maybe I have to look at velocity as well as southwest of Muskogee. So it seems like we really had this peak on out there just after 6 o'clock with some of these reports coming in. Again, right after I came on, it seemed like things really took that dive down toward the surface, or really this vigorous activity here. Stuff that, I mean, that really is bad news. Hopefully we'll get more on that and find out everybody's okay, but you don't want to hear stuff like that, obviously, in the chat. Find out that multiple trees fell on Muskogee Road with several cars trapped. So hopefully folks are all right, but we don't know at this point. So that's kind of the storyline here in eastern Leon County. And what had happened is two storms merged. The one storm that was in Gadsden, it looked really marginal. The one storm from the north didn't look like something that impressive. But right when they came together there, once we got in eastern Leon, we really started to see the lightning come up. We saw the winds just really come up there in toward that area. So again, I know we're trying to load some of our older radar images here, and it kind of makes things, I know it make things helpful here in this type of setup. If I can try to get back further here. So okay, this gave me an update here in the chat that it happened more on 6:30. That makes more sense. I still might be a little bit late, but in terms of the time frame, at 6:25, Wakena there, numerous trees down, power out throughout the county. So these winds really becoming a problem here in toward the Big Bend region. Let me go back. This is from about 6. Okay, this is going to be, we have it loaded. Okay, it was trying to load out further back, so trying to give you some of these different scans here. Trying to let you guys know what's going on, what's happening. I wanted to see, so there's some of those winds, and so right about there. So about 612, it looks like, even probably right in there. We had some of the worst of this. I know the report comes a little later, but let's go ahead. One of the reports right in here. And then, so the Muskogee area up in here might have happened even, let's see where that report is exactly. So that probably happened a little bit before, I mean, maybe right before 6:15 even. So we're getting some different details and trying to figure out exactly what happened in this type of setup. I'll go ahead and zoom back on out. Zoom back on out here. We're going to keep looking at velocity here as we need to, but let's warn some folks here. It's right at the top of the hour now, further out. At 6:53, severe thunderstorm located 14 miles southwest of Madison, was moving southeast at 40 miles an hour. Mayo, Madison, Perry, Greenville, Lee, Pineland, Ebb, Hamburg, Buckville, as well as You can see areas in this warning like Cabbage Grove noted on my end, and in Salem, Hanson, the airport area around Perry, and San Pedro Junction, Hampton Springs, Sherman's as well. So again, just continuing to watch things here on our different scans. A tree down, by the way, here a little while ago toward the intersection of Muskogee Road and Wiley Road in Leon County, and all this stuff seemingly happening in a cluster there toward the east of Tallahassee, northeast part of Leon. Roy causing us some problems here. Roy causing us some problems. So let's go ahead and go further back. I'm getting our velocity loaded further up. I'm trying to give you guys the very latest. Also a tree down there on Mahan Drive toward Tallahassee's Leon County. So again, just trying to make sure we give you guys everything you need here in terms of what's happened over the last little bit. So just trying. Okay, they're gonna go with a new severe thunderstorm warning now for Columbia and Suwannee. They're seeing some rotation as well now. So let's jump over to that. So real quick, last time for now on the analyst computer before I switch over. Whether you see the yellow box, or south of Lake City now. So that's something that's really kind of evolving on us pretty quickly. But here's this area here. So very quickly, I just want to see you guys. It even looked like I might have had a little burst of wind there. Maybe closer to 617 in that area. And then we got that report there. So I'll have to figure out the exact time frame later on. But let's go to our different radar scan for that storm south of Lake City then. This is severe thunderstorm warning for Port of Columbia and Suwannee at 7:30. So severe thunderstorm located near Columbia or near Etotucknee Spring, moving southeast at 15 miles an hour. Yeah, I really see that. It looks like it might be about to drop a tornado there if that tightens up any further. Okay, so you can see what they're talking about there. If you look, I'll point it out right near State Road 247 in southeast Suwannee County. So severe thunderstorm warning right now, but if this intensifies further, they'll have to go to the tornado warning, and obviously we'd be having to escalate our level of conversation a little bit. So nasty stuff there. They're really tracking that. Again, there's your spin right here. There's your spin right in here. This is southwest of the community of Columbia and northwest of Fort White. Pretty rural area, but we just have to keep our eyes on it. I say pretty rural because there are some homes out here. You can see it on the topography, even though we don't have a town necessarily listed there. So getting a report of another tree down at the intersection of Veterans Memorial Drive and Mahan Drive in Leon County. So that's problematic. But we're being told about this storm here. We have Etotucknee Spring. So if anybody's out right now in the summertime frame, I mean, toward Etotucknee Spring, you don't want to be out there right now. These type of conditions in your vicinity. We have Columbia at Fort White. We have this threat here with 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail, moving southeast at 15 miles an hour. So again, just continuing to watch things here in the weather center. You can see quite a bit of lightning here. Let's see how it's kind of evolved on us here the last few scans. So there's a few scans to go. Starting to come together some in toward this area. Back it up even further. You kind of see how earlier on it was a little bit more. I say a little bit because you had a little bit of circulation there even over around O'Brien. But it wasn't as big as it has become now. So a little bit easier to spot, but that could actually, sometimes a storm like that changing shape a little bit, that could actually, with that growing of it, could help maybe a circulation to get down here, or at least some wind potential to get down to the surface. So again, just gonna continue to watch things here. You see the hail threat's even over an inch on our other software now. This is southwest of Lake City here, so I'm gonna have to follow this. I know it looks like, just looking at it right now, with the movement here southeast at 15 miles an hour. We're just going to keep looking at things here. This could be something that eventually we'll have to watch around the Stark area here, or at least parts of Bradford and Alachua. If this holds together, I mean, it may not, but there's something to kind of watch here the next little bit as we kind of monitor things. I know this is something that could kind of sift around, but maybe north of Fort White. To areas maybe headed toward eventually. It's a long way out here, and things will change before it gets here. But maybe eventually it could get toward the Brooker area. I see that kind of on that line here as I look way out. But again, things have really been shifting around on us here all week. You know, with the directions. So this is really early to mention, but We're in Bradford County. That's why I'm kind of mentioning that. Maybe a little bit further out even. But you see all these wind reports, how this really came together here in eastern Leon. They're saying 625 there. They're correcting one of these reports. So trying to see exactly what it means. So the Mahan Drive report. So let's see. That was a different Mahan Drive. We're getting all these trees to fall. There's everywhere out there. It sounds like. So instead of 640, I think it's closer to 625. So you can see how we just had all these trees to fall there into toward this area, how things earlier on were marginal and then it really became, I mean, I'm not trying to use the SBC words here, but let's just say enhanced here per se in this one area. I mean, you really got things that concentrate and become problematic here. We rarely see this many wind reports over this small an area in our viewing circle. I mean, these are all wind damage, not the 40 gusts there that we got at 610, but just as it got past that, we probably had winds, closer to 60, 70 miles an hour. We'll find out maybe if it was something like a tornado in terms of a survey. But this wind might even get a wind survey for us. This much damage that's been noted. So much damage noted. So you have one report here that was where 6 trees got knocked over on 615. And some of these times, again, maybe closer to 615, but they say a little later in the system for now. But a tree down to the intersection of Baum Road and Wadesboro Road, tree down to the intersection of Baum Road and Mahan Drive, a tree down to the intersection of Veterans Memorial Drive and Mahan Drive, another tree down at Mahan Drive there. They zoom in there a little bit tighter, and we'll kind of place that marker there. And then another report of multiple. This is kind of dire sounding. Hopefully we get confirmation here later on. There's nobody in any type of harm's way here, but I don't know one way or the other at all right now. Multiple trees down on Muskogee Road causing several cars to be trapped. So that's problematic. As we look toward the north of that, a tree down the intersection of Muskogee Road and Wally Road in Leon County. We'll go ahead and go back on over now on our scan and on our informational sources. I know seeing a report in Jefferson about just numerous trees down and power out there too. And this is a severe storm with a tornado possible tag. The weak rotation here, pretty rural area. Then we have this stuff out toward Perry here, and I know you guys got hit by the tornado there. Other areas in Taylor County got hit by tornadoes there early Friday as well, with all those nasty pre-signatures indicating large tornadoes. Don't have that right now, but just got to keep watching things. I see a little bit of a hail increase here southeast of Live Oak, by the way, so let's go ahead and point that out. Let's go ahead and point that out now. Southeast of Live Oak, here's US 90, but right in here we're getting hail just under quarter size now. We'll have to watch that, and then you can see northwest of Perry. We're just going to have to continue to watch things here. Again, all this lightning, the storminess here intensifying northwest of Tallahassee. Now we had that little signature pop up, and now they're saying we could have gusts in excess of 40 in that area. So gotta watch that. And I'm hearing the chat you're talking about some different types of information here in the chat about the tornadic activity the other day. But again, looking at different things, I see some nasty stuff here in terms of severe potential out further toward the west. You said enhanced risk there going toward Oklahoma City, but Dallas as well, even out toward Little Rock there and the like. You can kind of see here. I just have to keep on monitoring things here. As the timeline continues northwest there, Shreveport, there's even a destructive storm right now, or that could be baseball size. Hey, I know they got hit so hard with wind there early yesterday, and now they're getting more vigorous weather concerns in their area. So I'm gonna go back down toward the south and east now. Continue to watch the situation. I know we're trying to give you the latest updates here to protect you, your friends, and your family. So just typing some different things in here, trying to let you guys know what the latest is and pass that along. I'm gonna go ahead and see if we have. I know we're kind of far away from it at this point, but it would be looking in the right direction. If we can make anything out from this storm way out in Columbia County from our camera view that faces off toward the west, there's a chance we might be able to catch something on there. Bear with me. Yeah, we're catching some of this cloud cover laced here. Nastier looking skies as we're getting closer. I was just looking over looking a little bit darker out there than we generally expected this time. That's what kind of caught my attention there. So let's go ahead and pop up our camera shot here. We'll look out. You can see these clouds are pretty impressive. Pretty impressive view right now, looking out toward the west here. And I know we're just looking at the chat. They're saying the hails are on peace side earlier in Lloyd, but obviously the wind was the big problem there. The big problem for that area versus the hail. I know we had some big hail concerns for that in the Panhandle earlier. As we were looking at some things, you can kind of see the camera adjusting a little for the time of day we're at. But again, just continuing to watch things here. I know looking at some of our latest information, a an aerial flood advisory for portions of Columbia and Suwannee until 9:15. So we'll just have to keep watching things and keep tracking things here in the Weather Center. So again, checking some of my different details here. Looking at some of my numbers, I noticed they were saying the wind probability was lower than the hail probability in that watch, but it seems like that wind probability just magnified itself right over eastern Leon and Jefferson, which is just really problematic. But again, this is an impressive view, impressive camera view right now. They're looking back from the Stark area to the west. Again, this is looking more toward that area around southern Columbia County with that cloud cover around there. I mean, we're even looking at some of the accent and the leading edge. I mean, as I look at some of my satellite details, but nonetheless, it's kind of aiming in that direction at least. So, I mean, just with the overall cloud patterns. So, again, we're just going to keep watching things. I'll see what I'm talking about here. So you have the colder cloud tops further off, but you have some of this cloud cover entering into the picture here. More vigorous. It was sunny earlier on, but you can kind of see the leading edge. Some of this accent coming on in. It's kind of clustered together on this view anyway. So, again, nasty weather conditions here. Trying to keep you guys safe and informed here on this Saturday. June 17th, 2023. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. Again, earlier on, there's some marginal warnings here. So we're looking toward Gaston, Liberty, and then even Gaston, maybe one report of a tree falling there. But then as we got into Leon, it took a while to cross over. But then once we had two storms come together, we had things just come together in a really significant way here with some rotation, with some wind down to the surface. And all these icons are indicative of damage, and they don't even tell the full scope because one of these is indicating all the different reports in Jefferson County. That one toward Waukena is just a placeholder maybe before we get specific details possibly on here. Not sure we will for sure, but just it kind of tells the story as I'm being told here right now. The power outage numbered again over 7,000 customers out in Leon, not like 30,000 we had, I believe it was back Wednesday night, but still not great. And as we look toward Jefferson, about 2,000 customers in the dark. I know situation here. As we look back the other day, we had all those issues as possible. Some of those things that got fixed could have been harmed again by the storminess. So, again, just trying to give you guys the very latest right now. We're going to try to give you the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family here. I know the power crews do a great job trying to give you guys your power back on as quick as possible, but it's a tricky job. We got to be really careful when they're out there making those repairs. So again, looking here right now, southern part of Columbia County. There's like a little hook on here on that one view. Don't see much on rotation tracker, but let's check our rotation. Again, we haven't checked that in a few minutes. So let's go back to analyst here. We'll go back on over. Here, northwest of Fort White. You can kind of see what we're talking about there. A little bit of wind enhancement, a little bit of weak rotation in that area. So something to kind of be mindful of here as we do look ahead at our timelines. So, again, just trying to let you guys know here what the storyline is. Let's move into I-75 here later on. Could be about an hour away based on this timeline. Let me see, we have our storm motion good. We do. So again, about an hour away from the Interstate 75 corridor, moving northwest of Alachua. From this, you see it maybe they're maybe closer to La Crosse from this current track versus Brooker, but you never know. I mean, even just the heavy rain could be headed over Brooker, and this could be, I mean, I've been kind of not saying this on the air necessarily, but I'll say it on the air now. I know in Bradford County, and I have mentioned a little, but we've gotten pretty lucky, but eventually you're going to be in a situation where our luck could run out a little bit because we've had so much vigorous weather in the north and west, and this certain pattern here is about to change over. Tomorrow's going to be kind of a shift day there, and then we'll kind of switch more into that rainy pattern from the south as we're looking ahead toward next week. You can end up getting some more vigorous acts and more problematic weather if we're unlucky. So looking up toward the north, it looks like there's almost a little bit of weak rotation up here. That might just be our way our storm motion's catching that. So we'll keep our eyes on that and what they're like city around I-10. But looking here right now in the situation, you can see some of the heavy rain still. And just the gusty winds that are showing up there in Columbia County. So, again, just something to keep in mind. Just something to be mindful of here for sure on this Saturday evening, Saturday night. I know it looks so dark where we're at here in terms of the weather conditions. Pop that camera back up. You can see it's getting a little bit nastier looking. We're still a little ways away from the direction we're looking. So let's go back on over right now to our other view. Go back on over here. I know there's now a tornado on the ground in Oklahoma and Beaver County. We're being told about now. A damaging tornado located 6 miles south of looks like Flores there, or Flores, or 9 miles west of Beaver there, and east at 25 miles an hour. So gotta keep our eyes on that. Let's see what else we might have here right now. I want to go ahead and go back on over to the broad perspective. So got that warning continuing to 7:45 for parts of Lafayette, Madison, and Taylor counties. We'll just keep watching now. Yes, I had that again, that tornado warning in Oklahoma. Let's see that since it's a confirmed one on the ground now. So there's where that is. It's west of the community of Beaver. So let's look at the rotation tracker. Some pretty tight rotation there. So you see south of Flores there. If I'm pronouncing that right, if I'm not, I apologize. But in southwest of Beaver, we'll just continue to watch that. National perspective, there's that tornado watch there that goes in the yellow to 11 o'clock central. We'll have to see if maybe thunderstorm watch, something like that, go to Oklahoma City's way. Looking here, that's your wind rest, but your tornado rest, it does kind of edge up toward Tulsa. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but we'll go ahead and go back on over here. We'll go ahead and look at this view real quick, and then see a little bit of lightning developing southeast of Keystone now out ahead. Well, hopefully that didn't mature too much, because we have some of those parameters that it seems like they're slacking off in that area a little bit. They were normal focused up there earlier. I noticed as I backed this up when we were on earlier on talking. Maybe some of that further on up. I mean, it looks like I'm going to go back a little while now. But yeah, some of those parameters a little bit further up. Some nice stuff's gotten a little bit spiced even here as we're looking at things. But again, just continuing to watch, continuing to monitor here. Trying to give you guys the latest to protect you, your friends, and your family here on this Saturday evening. Again, I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. We're getting some new updates here in right now. Let me see what we might have. Let me see what our latest details are. So just bear with me for a few seconds here. I want to go ahead and see that we're getting some new details in from Storm Prediction Center. So let me go ahead and kind of check on that. Some of the scale discussing this further out toward the west here. We have some potential here. Let's go ahead and see what they're talking about here in the chat and then discussing. So damage and wind and large hail, the primary threats over the next couple of hours. Storms have produced a plethora of damage and wind gusts and hail up to 1.75 inches. Temperature defects in the wake of the storms are around look like 20 Fahrenheit there. Yielding substantial inhibition primarily behind the main convective cores. So talking about cooler air coming in, and then they'll see if the overall threat from the second round might be lower because of the overturned air in the wake of the earlier convection. So again, that's something to kind of take note of then, and we'll just continue to watch things and see that there's no advisory now for parts of Clay and Putnam. So Clay and Putnam now at advisory. 7:45, a strong thunderstorm in that vicinity. So let me go ahead and check on that. So this is going to be, we have it 9 miles east of Keystone, moving east at 15 miles an hour. Palatka, Barden, as well as George's Lake, Florida, Home, Putnam, Hall, and Caraway could have some issues from that. Kind of popping on up, going down in the water if you can help it. I don't want to be caught out in that type of scenario. We'll continue to look at things here in the Weather Center, trying to give you guys the very latest here to protect you, protect your friends, and protect your family. It's been a busy week, as we've talked about, and as you've seen with all my live updates here that I've been providing. We're sticking with these severe warnings a little bit more right now than we were earlier on, because a situation really here, a situation where things have become a little bit more vigorous, especially out toward areas there of Eastern Leon and Jefferson. We jumped on because things were going from marginal to like more focused, more significant, more substantial there in a pretty quick period of time. As I know, we're getting reports of another tornado warning now in Beaver County, Oklahoma, because that confirmed tornado, they're kind of extending that on out in the timeline there. So it's in the Oklahoma Panhandle, a confirmed tornado based on weather spotter reports. Beaver and Knowles there, the community of Beaver and the community of Knowles there in Oklahoma. So again, I'm just trying to let you guys know what's going on there. Let's go ahead and see what else we might have. I think we might want to jump on over toward, if they're still up. I thought about doing this earlier. I decided against it, but if they're still up, I might want to pop them up since I just heard of so many reports here of problems out toward that Eastern Leon area. We had the still images that we were getting in earlier on. I wanted to see if any of those are still up. I think they are. Let's see if I can. I'll see if I can make this over to our full screen product, possibly. I don't generally show them like this. It's multiple stills here, but let's do it like this. Okay, so we're gonna a little bit different way of doing this, so bear with it. Our system doesn't like it, so I apologize if you're kind of seeing me cut out, but trying to do something on the fly here a little bit. So again, just continuing to give you the latest updates. That logo's still red. I'm hoping we're going to switch that around to a little logo here as we get in early next week, but we'll have to look at things since those rain chances will still be kind of high. I'll have to dive into the details, but it should be a different type of pattern for us. But I mean, I'll have to look at the metrics there and the models and the like. So, okay, we're gonna not go to the cameras in for now because our system doesn't like that. It doesn't like me doing that, so it's kind of causing some of our stuff to lock up. But nonetheless, I'm gonna go ahead and look at our model and other source then. Might try that later on if our system wants us to do that. But again, let's go ahead and kind of look at some of those models. I should see in the storms. Hopefully we get these out of our hair later on. But I have to watch around Tampa tonight because I'm seeing some stuff in our models. I just know what happened around Perry, Taylor County didn't get a lot of national attention. But if we have anything like what we had happen around Taylor County in the middle of the night ever happen around Hillsborough County or one of those coastal counties that have a lot more population in them, we're going to be talking about a much more serious deal. If those type of debris that ever pop up in the middle of the night in a populated area like that, along that coast, I mean, any of those counties that are a lot more populated really down there, that'd be a big store in the state of Florida where we could be really seeing some big time problems or we could have injuries and the like. So just so you guys know, yeah, just kind of something to keep in mind there. Something to keep in mind there for sure. I'm going to go ahead and see what we might have now in terms of new tornado warning. I'm trying to make sure we don't miss these here. Some of these have to confirm because that one popped up really quick when we were watching things the other day toward Perryton, and ended up causing those fatalities. Sometimes there's different structures there. You don't have to have this sort of a tornado to have problems, but still pretty significant one, but it popped up pretty quickly, not a lot of heads up. But Stonewall County there, northwest Texas, tornado warning confirmed, tornado 11 miles southwest of, it looks like Aspermont there, or Aspermont, I believe would be the pronunciation, moving southeast at 25 miles an hour. So tornado warning there, west of Stamford, Texas. Keep your eyes on that. See a strong storm around Abilene as well. Just try to give you guys a little bit of a national update there since, again, just to let you guys know what's been going on. Looks like we might get a new warning for Columbia and Baker here soon. It looks like it's popping up pretty quick there near I-10 in that neck of the woods. So, got to touch on that here. We'll watch to see if they issue a warning for that over next little bit at Jacksonville's office. That looks like it's kind of by itself there. We'll just keep watching it, keep tracking it. There's a lot going on here, so sticking with it here, just trying to give you the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. So I apologize if I kind of not always just 100% perfect in terms of being able to give you that storyline here, maybe a few uhs and ums, because we're just trying to give you all these details on the flies. We just got a new warning now for portions of Baker, Columbia, and Union until 8. It's that storm up here, storm right here northwest of Alusty, the worst, but they're in it. I'm sure they're in that warning. Once it pops up, you see that yellow box. It's for inside there and winds to 60 miles an hour. So a new severe thunderstorm warning now for parts of Baker, Columbia, and Union until 8 o'clock. So need to go ahead and be inside and away from windows here in this area. The stream is kind of shifting from talking about the Big Bend to talking about areas further on over now. No watches over here or anything like that, but we have a severe thunderstorm warning until 8 o'clock now for parts of Baker, Columbia, and Union. So again, it's intensifying with that heat in the day, and still some of these other favorable parameters coming into play. Have to watch this depending on the ultimate movement here and trying to figure that out. East at 15, maybe closer to McLean and Moody, around the interstate in general here. With a new tornado warning in Texas now, Brown, Coleman, McCulloch, and Sensaba or Sensaba County there. Just trying to keep you guys up to date. That's in the San Angelo warning area. Just trying to give you some national warnings there. That's a radar indicator one, but still could turn confirm quick. You just never know. Okay, our system. I think we do have that shot now from earlier. We do have that shot from earlier now. This is one of them along that interstate corridor. One of those cameras where that stretch that we ended up having go down. So let's go ahead and see if we can take that on our other source here. This is going to be a Florida 5-1 perspective a little bit earlier on. So here we go. It's going to be on our traffic system full. That's what it looked like before the power went out. You see how treacherous things were. People having their lights on, and this. I mean, it looks like maybe they're flashers. You can't tell for sure. Maybe here, but that's kind of just the view from earlier on in that Florida 5-1 perspective from about 6:05 or so even. These take steals every little bit, so we would have had a few minutes after this, maybe before the power went out to it. But nonetheless, storyline there, obviously. And see if we have any shots live right now. That storm that's really starting to pop up. Columbia and Baker. Let's go over there. Columbia, Baker, and a little bit of Union there as well. But again, trying to give you guys the very latest on what's going on. So this is going to be east of Lake City. East of Lake City here. Along I-10. Got a gust of 51 there, 1 mile west of Alusty in the last few moments. This is strengthening. So I'm going to go ahead and look this. So it's northwest of Alusty then. Probably get a good shot if we can get a camera up there real quick. Before we maybe lose power again like we did earlier on. So let's go ahead and see how treacherous things may be. In fact, let's see if this is a good shot here. I mean, it's possible. I can't really tell in here. It looks like there may be something down there with the trees. I can't really tell for sure, but I'll pop this up. You guys can see what you might make of it. But here's a shot there. Looking like some definitely treacherous conditions there over the last few moments. So can't make that out for sure if that's vegetation there or if there's maybe something down in that group they're focusing on the camera. So this is Florida 5-1 perspective there. I-10 mile marker 314. Let me go ahead and go on over toward the east here a little bit. See what the conditions look like. Give you some live views, live visuals. Bear with me. It's been a long week. Okay, this is shot. Let's go ahead and go to it then. It's going to be I-10 mile marker 315. It's just a one-man band. They don't like have a producer direct them into the right cameras or anything like that. So I'm trying to do this best I can, correlating it to the radar. But you see some light in there on this Florida 5-1 perspective. I-10 mile marker 315. Again, trying to give you guys the very latest there to protect you, your friends, and your family. You can kind of see what we're talking about. These nasty conditions, make sure you're taking it slow on the roads if you can in this type of weather scenarios. Again, there's the view there right now. Go ahead and check maybe further to the east and see if we get any more nasty views. Again, we're right near the interstate with these, so We don't have them everywhere. That's why you have to kind of focus on interstate corridors to look at in terms of the treacherous conditions in Florida. See what we can find. Again, just trying to figure things out here with these sites. You can see here, not too many people on this stretch of road right now, which is a good thing with these nasty air conditions in the vicinity. I tell my marker 316 there. You can see some of that rain blowing around. Looks like it's picking up a little bit in speed. And this tree's around. Don't see a lot of movement with them, but there's a little bit. So we'll watch that. We'll monitor that. Try to give you guys the latest. Again, you see some of those flashes out there as well. Let's go back on over to this view here. Here's some thunder where I'm at, east of Start. Again, gotta be watching this stuff up there. You see McClenny, you see some of those areas around there. Again, that gust of 51 around all Lusty there. Just a little while ago. It seemed like the stuff around Perry we're still gonna have to keep our eyes on. Let's just see what it looks like off of Moody. It doesn't look quite as vigorous off of Moody here at this point. We're gonna keep our eyes on it. Give you guys the very latest here. Again, you can see east of Perry there. Trying to tell you guys what's going on. Still some strong weather, and if you have some damage, obviously, this is not what you want to see. This is not what you want to see if you have some damage, because, I mean, you could be talking about a situation here that your more vulnerable spots could be impacted here by these adverse conditions. So, again, let's go ahead and go to the east now. We're being told this hail threat's increasing. Now, you can kind of see it on this radar. They're not saying hail could be up to 1.5 inches in diameter here in parts of the Columbia-Baker County region here. Let's go back on over to our mode. Let's go to hail tracker here. You can see how right on the interstate there, picking it up a little bit, picking up steam possibly to that surface. So saying this could be now producing hail to ping pong ball size here. Near Lusty or 12 miles east of Lake City, moving east at 15 miles an hour. Glen St. Mary, Sanderson, and Lusty. The warning in place at about 8 o'clock or so. And they're saying here in the statement is prepare immediately for large hail damage and winds, and people outside to move to a shelter inside a strong building away from windows as torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm. So, and other hazards as well, obviously. But let's go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. It looks like to be the strongest one in our area right now. Again, not talking about a Big Bend as much, but with that, we saw that one warning, the damage earlier, but a storm coming from Columbia to Baker is a little more impressive now. So, trying to give you guys the very latest here. Trying to pop things up the best I can. I know we're looking at the models ahead here. And it's trying to determine what could be kind of what we're going to have to expect in the future. I know still could be on the edge of some of this threat here as we look here in the timeline. Let me go ahead. I know Sunday looks like it's going to be drier here for most of us. Monday we still could kind of get clipped by some of the stuff. I know I'm talking about the stuff in the south eventually coming up, but may still see a little more from the north come in on Monday actually. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday starting to see kind of a shift here. So, and we'll have to just kind of watch so on that. But so on that pattern, it may still be a little bit longer until we get that shift. I mean, more drier tomorrow, as we talked about coming in, but interesting here. So we may still have to watch a little more on Monday looking at that. I'm going to have to look at our risk levels. Our current risk level for tomorrow here. Marginal for a few of us, western areas, southern areas, but then as we look toward Monday, it's only for western areas at that point, but that could always get expanded. So at least we're not talking about a slight risk like what we have here in play today. So, kind of storyline there. Continue to give you guys the very latest to protect you, protect your friends, protect your family here. Again, just thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me. I know we've had that severe thunderstorm watch in play to the west. We had flood alerts, flood watch in play to the west as well. We're keeping our eyes on some of those excessive rainfall totals. Another thing I want to go to right now, let's go back to our camera then. Looking back to the west because you probably see some, and it's going to be getting darker here pretty soon, but sunset's still a little ways away, so kind of tells you how nasty some of those skies are looking then. But let's go over here. You can see what we're talking about. I'm still a little ways away from Stark, like getting heavier rain, probably as we're getting at least closer to dark. So maybe I see it a little depending on the timeline, but they're showing east of 15 though. So that's another hour from the heaviest here, but lightning here. And you're already starting to hear thunder, but some of that lightning right coming into play in the next hour, but might get lucky or unlucky and see a strike here per se on this camera shot because of the way we're looking, but it's still a little ways away at this point. For the most part, we can always get a bolt here that is a little bit further away, and that's why we always just again urge you guys under that thunder roar just best at least. I mean, sometimes when you hear it in the far distance, you want to stay out for a few more seconds, but it's the best thing, the precautionary thing to do is to go indoors. So again, let's go ahead as we continue to watch things. I know it's getting darker, so our camera's trying to kind of shift a little bit with the aperture per se, so you might see a little shift darker light. That's just our camera trying to adjust there to the sky conditions best it can to present the view to you. But back to the other view on our Doppler. Here on the left, it's a pretty nasty storm there, right around, it says right around I-10. I didn't see, I mean, let me go back there then, since it looks like it's pretty concentrated. I mean, this again, Baker County here, folks. I mean, we're in Bradford. This is Western Baker, so it's north of Union at this point. North of Union County is, I know, by the way, as you're looking at things here, just a quick geography lesson. I don't know, many of you probably don't know this, but we have to go back a really long time in the timeline, but used to. You can look north of Bradford and Baker would be there. I mean, you were looking there, it wasn't just about where Bradford is now, but Union used to be part of Bradford County to go back many decades there in the timeline. But again, it's just something to keep in mind. Looking south from the storm used to be really more about areas there. You'd be on like the Columbia Bradford County line instead of the Columbia Union County line. But again, looking at things right now, again around Olustee, trying to effort some of those shots, trying to give you guys some of these different views in the timeline here. Looking where the interstate is and the like. I mean, it gets a little bit tricky here actually. I talk about it being right over the interstate on this view, but on a radar view it shows a little south. So maybe just worse, just south there, maybe closer to US 90 actually, which we don't have really cameras on. Let's pop that up there. I don't think we necessarily get something from the cameras that we haven't already shown. There might be something, but let's just see this right now. Right over US 90 around Olustee. I mean, getting hammered here it looks like. So hopefully nobody's out and about there right now. It looks like some pretty intense convection. Always some hail reaching down there in Olustee. I'd be surprised if we weren't getting some hail down there. It had to win the 50s. So they're getting hammered around Olustee right now. I mean, you saw that black there indicating some bigger hail possibly in there. Again, that's what we have up to 1.5 inches on that wording. Let's see if the Jackson radar is closer. It may be closer at this point. We're kind of switching around. Before I switch, I'll look at these storms again. Parts of Taylor County. South of Perry, some of the worst of this as I switch to the right direction on the movement. Pineland, northwest of Mayo there. Kind of get the idea, but this stuff here pretty vigorous. Let's just try this. It'll tell me which one's closer. It is Jacksonville now. So zoom back in to see what we're getting off of this radar. Sometimes your distance is going to be kind of close here, so that's why I'm going to stick with the one that you've been on. Maybe the wind doesn't look just completely overwhelming. Doesn't mean we couldn't have some damage at a gust of 50 in there. Probably could have been a little bit stronger a little bit earlier on, but a hail threat looks like it could be over 1 inch in diameter there. US 90. Got to be mindful of that. Okay, just got an advisory now to 8:15. It's going to go for areas of Nassau, Bradford, Baker, Union, Clay, and Duval in Florida. Talking about a situation here. We could have some gusty winds, heavy rain, lightning, and maybe some hail. So, got to be cognizant of that here. I know, by the way, we've been told of a tornado on the ground in Texas there toward Haskell, Jones, and Fisher counties. Possible threat there really magnified with the one on the ground near the community of Hitson now. 30 miles northwest of Hamlin, moving east of 25 there in that state, the Lone Star State, the Longhorn State, whatever you want to call it. And again, just continuing to watch things here. I'm going to go ahead and keep looking. I'm going to keep looking here at some of our latest details. Yeah, it's all about protecting you, all about protecting your friends, and all about protecting your family. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. Again, I'm waiting for the new advisory, by the way, to come up. And okay, so I haven't got one on here yet, but we'll have one kind of fill in going into Duval. So let me watching this here next little bit. I know this edge here might be kind of strengthening. Yeah, that's strengthening now. And it's going to be crossing towards State Road 121 here pretty soon. So again, just going to keep watching things. I think what we're going to do right now, at 7:41, if we get like a tornado warning, I'll dump back in immediately. We need to catch our breath for a few minutes here. Need to catch our breath, gust to 50 though possible from Laurie to McClinney here, especially in that corridor just north, maybe Baldwin here. Well, maybe not Baldwin quite yet. They're under this, but more like areas around Hugh. And we'll see. I mean, depending on the movement, it could end up being Baldwin. But right now, looking more around areas like this, Hugh, and some of these areas here, maybe in far southwestern Duval County. So we'll keep our eyes on things. We're going to keep looking at things on our scans. I'm back at 7:50 or more, so keep it tuned to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date here from the Weather Center.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in Weather Center at 7:50 on this Saturday evening, getting toward that Saturday night, and unfortunately, some of these plans that you might have getting disrupted here because of some of these storms around. And that one morning toward Taylor County, that region is no longer in effect here as just a few moments ago, being allowed to expire. It looks like so that's some good news, but we're still dealing with that warning further to the east. I know. We had mentioned it on the description more in the Big Bend, but I started to see some of these warnings translate further on off. So obviously we're covering those. Giving you the latest. We're in Bradford County, so we're only just to the north this is the southeast. It's just to the north and west of us, nearby a little way. This one in particular isn't headed our way, but some other storm in it says it would seem. So we'll keep our eyes on it. But looking here at other view right now, I know my computer after 6 days of this, definitely we're trying to just make sure we give you the latest, but a little bit sluggish here at points, but we're trying to get through it. I mean, I know a lot of meteorologists here in the weather world is kind of exhausted after all this type of storminess that we've been dealing with here. I mean, you just don't generally get a pattern like this in summer where you have this many threats. Sometimes you get the pop-up stuff, but it'll go away after a period of time during the day. We have had some breaks, and some of that actually allowed the storminess to form here a little bit more vigorously tonight with the heating of the day, but we don't generally have these type of shear parameters in play where we have a threat to like tornado warnings here like what we had there in the overnight. If you were with us there between like 2 and 7 in the morning there on Friday, give or take, I mean, we were just almost continuous with tornado warnings, and same for Wednesday afternoon from like noon to 7, somewhere around there in our Georgia counties. So it was about Georgia on the Wednesday afternoon time frame with just hours and hours of tornado warnings. And then the same for early Friday there toward the Big Bend and into more parts of North Central Florida. So again, a crazy pattern, a crazy situation. But here's that warning right now that's continuing for parts of Baker. They have lowered that criteria down to 1.25 NTL, but that's still bigger than your base warning, Sanderson and Olustee. So, got to keep that in mind here as we continue to watch things in the Weather Center. Just trying to give you the latest here to protect you, your friends, and your families. So, significant advisory. I said Northern Bradford. You hear some rumbles of thunder where we're at. You're in the Stark area, but up toward the west, you have some more storminess coming on in. But watch that. Again, we had all that damage around eastern Leon and Jefferson from that storm. Initially, we were talking about marginal type conditions with it in particular, and then we had two storms kind of come together. One from the north moved in that area, and they merged, and we had a problem on our hands, to be quite honest. Some really serious wind causing problems there. I mean, one of the reports was really kind of scary sounding. Hopefully everything's okay. But multiple trees down on Muskogee Road, causing several cars to be trapped on the roadway. We don't know the extent of what's happened beyond that there. So hoping everybody's okay out there, but don't know 100% for sure at this point. So just gonna keep watching things and keep looking. I know. Continuing here to just check our scan. You see the strong storms. Hopefully it becomes more about strong storms and not severe. And we'll be able to wrap this up. And if we do are able to wrap this up, if you were to watch it at clutter.com/radar for an interactive look at radar, you'll be able to move that radar around and do things from that platform per se. And then you also want to keep in mind too that if there's some flash flood warnings, we'll post about them. Severe thunderstorm, tornado warnings. We'll obviously be in the severe thunderstorm warning sense, using our discretion to come on if we need to. Tornado warning sense, we're always on now for any one of our 62 counties. Flash flood warning, we use our discretion with those flash flood warnings. That may be possible because of all that rain we've seen. Areas like Marion and Alachua here. Well, we'll just have to keep our eyes on things. I know we cover 62 counties here so strongly. Just trying to give you guys the latest. We're located in Bradford, and speaking of Bradford's location, just around that now, Baker, Union, and Columbia under a flood advisory. That's a step below a flood warning here. Maybe not flash flood warning step below, but you get the idea. Still something that's kind of noteworthy to pass along to the viewer here, because getting word here of it looks like some concerns around maybe Olustee because of all that rain that's come in toward that area. I know that's something to kind of bear in mind. That's anything that's taking place around there, maybe having some impacts. So I know that's a place where they've had some different events over the years, and if there's any events that are planned here today in that area, they might have been having to make sure they wrap things up a little bit earlier on. But again, going to go ahead and zoom back on out on our scan. You see a storm in Suwannee County that's kind of strong. Or maybe about needing a warning. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like it might need a warning west of McAlpin now. That looks like it's really strengthened. That's on one scan. That's almost 8,000 feet up though. So let's go ahead and check here. Let's go ahead and check here on this mode. I know storms can be tricky sometimes. We had a couple of storms here. One last night I had to watch here. Didn't have to come on for moving into more parts of southwest Georgia. That was severe in Alabama. I was looking strong on radar, but this one getting the return toward the ground. And we had a storm in Levy County that kind of on the edge of some radar. It had like a little a comma head look to it, I would say, and ended up getting some wind reports in terms of power outages. It would have been caused by the wind, but no formal warning was issued there. This doesn't have that look though from Moody, which is good. 3 or 4,000 feet up. But we'll just continue to watch things with it. Continue to give you guys the latest. Let's get back over here now. Try to give you guys a vantage point on things. Again, it's always just important after what we saw early Friday. That makes you have multiple ways to get alerts really all year long. I mean, there's always a chance of different alerts even outside of weather where it'll be important for you to be notified of. So just keep that in mind. Just make sure you always have multiple ways to get alerts here. And just and with the weather alerts, I mean, there's even more methods and maybe alerts on your phone for non-weather type of stuff. But so again, there's something to kind of keep in mind here. They're telling us they're expiring this warning out, so maybe a little bit of decay with this now, which is good to get us under severe limits for the time being. But I'm gonna stick with it a little longer. But I know and it covered a little longer. But I know you have weather radio for your weather alerts, and occasionally you'll have things like I know going back a long time here to the wildfires around Columbia counties. Just when I was still in secondary school, just talking about a situation there where we had wildfires around Columbia County and there were evacuations and some of that notification went across the weather radio. So you didn't always come down to severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings or flash flood warnings. It's always good to have alert methods on hand, I should say, in these type of situations and all types of situations. So continuing to watch things here. Let's go ahead and zoom back out. We could still get more warnings now. So I'm going to give them a little longer. With some of these storms that have advisories on them, this one here from the higher up view anyways really looks like it's trying to come together, but lower down view didn't show it as much. That's why, like Levy, we saw that comma head and some wind this morning, but I didn't see the warning. But we didn't have a lower down view. There's not a lower down view because we have a situation here. Unfortunately, I know there's some wind reports in Marion in terms of some power outages as well, at least. But you don't have a radar that covers this area down here very good, I know. Some of the worst covered our whole area is down in here, so that's problematic. And I know even with Elsa, we had a landfall along the Gulf Coast here, and it's hard to kind of determine really exactly where the worst of the winds were down to the surface. So that can make things a little bit tricky sometimes. But I mean, we try to do the best we can though with the radars we have. But they really do cost a lot of money, so that's why they're not everywhere. But our radars here, just give you a little lesson on this since we don't have any warnings as we get toward 8 o'clock. At this moment, active warnings to stay on for. I'll just talk about the radars because I'm kind of waiting to see if we get more warnings here. But Jacksonville radar here, you have this view that scans out, and you have the Moody radar, you have the Tallahassee radar, you have the Fort Rucker radar, and those are pretty much about the 4 that we use here in our area. I mean, you can use this one for some stuff coming in from the west, maybe, but and then this one up here for some of our far northern areas. And around Albany, that area there, that's an area that kind of lacks covered. I know TV station in the area now, a couple stations that combine there that kind of serve that area in a combined way to a degree. Now have a radar toward that region that they can use on their products. So that's really helpful to kind of get a little bit better indication for the viewers in that area. But let's just go ahead and continue to look here. I know you have TV station radars to the south that I used to, and this is something I may get around to posting here at some point. I was looking back at some archives here the other day, going through some details, and there's been situations where some of the Jacksonville stations used to have different radar perspectives as well from different spots. So at this point, don't have that, but used to. As you hear the thunder in the background where we're at here, east of Stark. So kind of interesting, different radar perspectives around, giving you a little bit different angle of the storms. I know some areas even have, and you're gonna not see much on the radars because I'm looking too high up, but terminal radars, like areas that aren't as covered. Palm Beach has this. And you see same with areas down there. I mean, the Melbourne radar further over, they have a terminal radar here, a terminal radar here on Tampa. So those can give you different views as well to get you a little bit better looks at the storms. As we're being told about the public reporting trees down on I-10 around 217. This is on 622, so gonna hope things have been cleaned up by now there. I might not even ever get the view anyway because, like I said, the cameras were down earlier on looking out there. But we may try to effort something. Since we're kind of trying to stall for time, a couple things I wanted to look at here. I know something that's really interesting. I don't know if we have a radar view on it. I might be using satellite for this. Okay, there's a radar up here. Didn't dive into this there on a radar indicated. I know what you're wondering what I'm doing here, and I just switched to Alaska because we very rarely. I don't think we've ever had it since when I've been on the air talking. We don't get warnings very often at all in Alaska. There's a thunderstorm warning up there right now. It's so interesting to see some quarter-size hail north of Fairbanks, Alaska here. Just thought we'd transition here to that real quick, just for a second, because that's a real unusual anomaly. It doesn't happen very often. Maybe only a few times a year do you have a warning in Alaska for severe weather, and it's happening when we're on right now. So I thought I'd document that. And a lot of times it's in areas that aren't even that close to some cities. But this here, I mean, you see some communities here closer toward what they're calling here the Pedro Dome. So interesting there to make note of north there of Fairbanks. Kind of interesting, kind of intriguing. Looking at that there. Just thought I'd pop that up real quick. Since we kind of warning to make sure everything's looking a little bit better before we wrap it up in case we get more warnings. We don't want you guys caught off guard in the local area. So kind of making a little bit of a deviation there, but so sometimes it only happens maybe for a couple hours in a whole year that you have warnings in Alaska. Total combined between all of them. So since it's happening right now, I saw it pop up and we didn't have any local warnings. Thought we'd at least do that to you guys if you were at home and document that. Let's go ahead and jump back over here now. Again, trying to give you guys the very latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. We don't have any current warnings. We still do have that watch, though, out to the west, that severe thunderstorm watch. I mean, that doesn't go too much longer, only till 9 o'clock Eastern. That's 8 o'clock Central. So just kind of make note of that, though. I know the threats here will fall down. Some of them look ahead, but excuse me, but toward the east here, we'll have to watch and make sure we don't get any more warnings. There's still some parameters in play. We'll just have to keep looking at them. Of course, toward Oklahoma there, you can see the panhandle. We have this storm that's had a history of producing a tornado, maybe grapefruit size hail now around Beaver. Got to be cognizant of that. With the tornado in Texas. Let's get down here. This has had multiple tornado reports with it. So that's problematic. And this is a thunderstorm watch getting closer towards Stamford, Texas. Still confirmed near Hitchson around 15 minutes ago, or to Hamlin. So this is in that area northwest of Abilene. And trying to give you a perspective, pretty far from San Angelo, but they are the ones that are responsible for issuing the warnings out there. Let's get back to this view again. So a couple things I wanted to do. Wanted to go ahead and try to give you guys a view here on the interstate if I can. See if I can find out maybe what's going on here in terms of that 217 exit number. I'll see if there's any camera views that are available, if there's any trees still down. Hopefully not, but I know it's not out of the question here, so something to keep in mind. Okay, look at some accidents there earlier on. Let's see, 221. So let's go further back. It's a one-man band here, so sorry. Won't have everything perfectly in line. Looks like the camera view is down from that area. Let me see if that one went. That's one of those that went down on 610 or 615. Somewhere by the time, maybe right after we came on there, it went down. So we still don't have those back, unfortunately. Maybe some power outages still factoring into that situation. Let's go ahead and see what else we might have now in terms of power outage numbers in the state. So about 15,814 customers in the dark. Talking about Taylor County, about 445 customers. Suwannee County, about 650. 186 in Columbia. Almost 2,000 in Jefferson. 1,270 still. 4,228 noted here in Leon County area there. About 1,058 in Gadsden County. So again, that's the storyline there right now. Let's see if our camera is going to be getting darker, but Let's see what our camera's catching here. Maybe it catches a lightning strike for us live on the air, something like that. So let's pop it up. It's getting darker, obviously, as we're getting closer toward that sunset time frame now. Closer to 8:30, but at least try to give you a look here. There's some flashes, at least one flash going up there. If you can make that sound out in the background, that's that rumble of thunder maybe from some of that activity. So again, I just trying to give you guys the latest here on what's happening. I don't know if that was that loud, but you might have been able to barely make it out there in the background noise. But again, I just continuing to watch here. You can kind of see, again, maybe another flash there to the right side of that. More flashes showing up. We're getting into a little bit darker time frame now in terms of being closer towards sunset. So whenever thunder roars, you want to go indoors, obviously. And we have some of that lighting potential here as we're looking further off toward the east. Again, just continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. Continuing to give you guys the very latest here. I know we're checking all our different tools that we have available here in the toolkit. So again, just trying to give you guys a look there at our camera there toward the Stark area, looking back toward the west. So here's some more thunder rumbles there. Maybe if you listen hard, listen carefully in the background. So again, there's some more flashes. You can kind of make them out there in the view if you look close. So there you go. Some more flashes yet again. Just continuing to watch here, but no severe warnings right now. Let's check velocity a little bit more. I don't see too much here. Pretty soon I'll probably wrap it up. I think we did just get an advisor now further down in Bradford, so let's go ahead and say that. Let's go ahead and say that here. I know sometimes we'll post these on Facebook because it's already on streaming still for a little while longer. Let me just go ahead and give you the heads up now then. By the way, there's storming, looks like in Clay. This looks like east of Lardy now. It's starting to show some signs of strengthening. A little bit of strengthening here southeast of Highland. This could become a warning storm here pretty soon if it goes in that direction like what we're seeing on velocity. As it's moving into the Middleburg area, maybe moving a little more easterly than what this has. I have it on our track from earlier, but it does seem like it has some southerly component with it, so we'll watch it. See here more thunder rumbles, but again, looking at some of this lightning back to the west. On velocity, we're trying to see what else we might have. On this area, I don't see a lot. Let's go to Tallahassee's radar. So we might have, it might take a second to catch up there. Second to catch on up on our velocities. Again, we had those pretty frightening reports there earlier on out of Leon County, eastern Leon, from all that wind that we saw. Right now, this is not near that significant, but still maybe gusty winds there, excess of 40 miles an hour. So we'll watch that and look at some stuff here, maybe to the east, a little bit of strong accent there as well in some of our different regions. Again, if you listen close, you might be able to hear that thunder in the background. I know maybe not too much. Hopefully you can't hear background noises too much. We've had our computers making a fair share lately. I don't know if you ever hear some of those stuff. But again, continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. Let me go back on over here to this perspective real quick. I know I'm switching some scans around. Again, toward the trees down across the intersection of Old St. Augustine Road and Miners Road in Leon County from around 6:20, give or take. So that's kind of problematic here. I think I want to stay on for that storm moving toward Middleburg for a little longer. I know it's kind of a more rural area right now, moving out of the Bradford area. It just seems like it has a little bit of weird look to it. It might not be anything. At least give it a couple scans. It might even have some cameras because I actually do have some cameras in that area. Maybe we'll catch something on that because of what we have on those Florida 5-1 views. So just bear with me here. I'm trying to effort some things out. So again, let me go ahead and go to the analyst computer real quick. You can see east of Lardy there. And then going back and out. For what it's worth, if you're wondering why we didn't have cameras set up during the tornado warnings the other day, it's mainly because I'm talking about the ones, the big long stretches of Wednesday afternoon and the overnight Friday. Friday we didn't really have the shot in that area, and it was nighttime anyway, not in that confined area. And then Wednesday night, I mean, we had a situation there where, or Wednesday afternoon, excuse me, we had a situation there in Georgia. We don't have live views up there where we can go to, like we do those Florida 5-1 shots. But again, the situation there, we just started to have some camera views maybe toward Gainesville proper, but really most of that area is in the dark in the time frame, and then more areas. It's rural, which helped us out in terms of maybe some of the damage being mitigated to a degree, but just continuing to watch things. Looks like some of our camera may be coming back toward the west there, but I want to focus on that storm in Clay County because that's not too far from where we're at. It's not where we are at, I should say. If you can make that a little bit better, but it's not headed our way, but just looked like it had a little bit of a weird wind look to it. So we'll watch it. I'm going to check that one to the south. I was just checking it too, but this is east of Lottie. But hopefully we'll get lucky tomorrow. Won't get any warnings, but we still have to watch towards some of our western and southern areas that's still marginal risk in play. So we could get a couple more warnings later tonight, and we'll let you know about them by either posting about on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook Casey Clyde WX, Facebook Clyde Weather, and then Twitter at Clyde Casey, or maybe just coming on here to all the sources because it'd be necessary, like what we saw, ended up seeing develop. We posted about that warning that was long fused first, and then because we weren't seeing too much, and then the storms started merging, and then we had a problem on our hands there, and that's why we escalated coverage like we did. So again, situation here right now. I'm just trying to effort some shots, maybe. Let me see if I have any camera shots available there in that area around maybe north of Middleburg. It might not, maybe a little too far to. Okay, this is southwest, so it's going to be kind of hard to catch anything on this probably at this point because this sides are a little bit further up toward the north. I might be able to catch the skyline though, depending on what we're dealing with here. I do see the skyline. It may not be the right direction, but it's a pretty interesting shot close to sunset. So let's go ahead and pop it up anyway. This is in Clay County. This is going to be on that. It doesn't have it labeled, so it's Saber 23. So just so you guys know here. This is most of the cameras are interstate, but some cameras are pretty new on some different roadways in there, or tollways, whatever you want to call them. But here's the shot. You can look right now live, and this is in Clay County there. This is in the Middleburg area, but I'm a little bit further up toward the north at this point. So just trying to see the skyline. It's pretty vivid up there. As you can kind of maybe make my cursor out a little bit. So just thought I'd pass that along to you guys and show that to you. Interesting to see for sure there. Just trying to give you guys a view of the situation. We'll go back away from that for now, though. Definitely some interesting clouds overall there. We used to have some of that thunder in the background where I'm at. We're just trying to stall for time a little bit longer just to make sure we don't get anything we need to stay on for. I don't want you guys caught off guard or anything like that. And then have a situation where you jump back. Okay, that looks a little bit maybe broader. I mean, it's drifting to the south, so this might be something that eventually gets closer to Worth County Road 215 there in Clay County. So again, not severe, but just wanted to pinpoint. We have some stuff we wanted to start though. In theory, that's not out of the question. We could get gusts up to 50 penny-sized hail and excessive cloud to ground lightning, and it isn't a minor flooding. Not a warning, no warnings officially right now, but we're talking about Stark, Lake Butler, Rayford, Worthington Springs, Middleburg, Worthington Springs, Palestine Community, Groves, New River, and Oakley Plantation with some stronger weather. Again, just a little under severe limits here at this point in time. So that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. So again, just trying to let you guys know the storyline there. Trying to effort everything we can to give you guys the very latest. That's what it's so important to do that here. Try to give you guys the very latest here on things as they evolve on us. Just seeing more reports though come in from the west earlier on Leon and Jefferson that emerged really quickly there. Things really came together in that area. Let's check our camera again. I'm hearing some rumbles of thunder. Maybe we can catch some stuff a little bit better as it gets darker. I mean, I'm hearing quite a few rumbles, so let's go ahead and go back over to that. There's your view there. Trying to see if we can catch some more flashes here. As we're looking back out to the west, you have some of that storminess coming into the picture a little bit there. Just trying, oh, there we go. That was a really vivid one. Then there's some more vivid ones, so I guess that was a good call there to go over to that. You could really see those flashes about the best we've seen on here. This camera probably right in the center almost. So, I mean, taking a screenshot of those is probably pretty intriguing. But, again, just kind of giving you guys an idea here of what's going on over Thunder Roar. You do want to go indoors. I mean, this is about the best way to look at it. Look at something like this. Or, I mean, maybe you have a camera or your home security camera or something. You can look at it that way versus looking out your window because you don't want to be near those really in these type of situations. So, again, looking at some more flashes there. I know you really saw the lightning, though, a minute ago. in this type of situation on that shot. So kind of intriguing. I may see more of that as the thunder rumbles are around. So again, show that logo red for a little bit longer. May still have to keep it red through Monday based on some of the model guidance I was just looking into. I hadn't had a chance to go over that model guidance as well out in the future, because it's almost like this day after day you're trying to get to the day at hand in this setup. You see more lightning there in this shot right now. I'm trying to give you this view here. Again, a strong thunderstorm scenario, not severe right now, not warm, but at least some lightning. I know it's starting to cluster a little bit there between Sampson and New River. And we're kind of, as I'm looking at this, that's kind of the direction we have this aimed in right now on our side. You saw some more of that lightning there, more of that electrical energy. So nothing overwhelming even when the winds right now, but I mean, you could have some nastier weather. Again, it's getting darker, so actually that could help us out here. Right at this point, you get enough darkness in the side, and then, but it's not just completely dark where you're not able to see much here. If it's not night vision, except the flashes, but you can kind of get the perfect combination almost here on this shot right now. And so we don't have any warnings. We're kind of sticking on this here just to watch. I know you're used to seeing stuff like this in Florida, but if you're watching from another state, it looks like that kind of got blurry there. But if you're watching from another state or something, this could be kind of intriguing to you guys. It got really blurry there for some reason, but if you're in another state or something, it might be kind of intriguing if you're not used to having this around. So that's getting kind of blurry, losing focus for some reason, maybe because it's just the darkness. So it's not you, or it's just the camera here if you're seeing that blurriness. So let's jump away from that for now. It may be because we're kind of getting kind of dark out there. The lightning flashes might be kind of confusing it a little bit, but that was a good one though, even though you can't really make it out that good in terms of just the features itself. But again, keeping our eyes on things. Coming back over here right now to the view, to our Doppler, you can see a little bit of nasty weather there in this area. That's kind of where we were looking. Maybe back out here as you hear more thunder rumbles. Kind of looking back in that direction now. As you continue to watch things here in the weather center. Again, something to point out here real quick is that as we get further on out here in the picture, you have, I know, these tornado warnings still toward Texas and Oklahoma. This one's toward Oklahoma's Panhandle. A radar indicated tornado warning now for Beaver County. As we look at them, as we go discussing them twice, see if things get extended or off, and the tornado warning for radar indications at this point over McCulloch. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Maybe not McCulloch, but McCulloch County, or McCulloch County there. Not 100% sure in Texas. But it'll be around the community of Brady Lake, or at 7:30, Brady around 7:35. That storm right here, what we're tracking. So again, trying to do the best I can pronouncing these. You saw that heat off there, not reading over 100 at the heat index. I mean, some of this is dry heat sitting and stuff as well in that, but just continuing to give you guys the very latest here. Give you guys the very latest in this type of setup. Here's your radar review again. Again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me here in the Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here on this Saturday night now. Just sticking with it, make sure we don't get any more warnings over the next few moments, and then probably just wrap it up. But you can see some lightning there. Let's try our camera again. I know it got kind of blurry there. I don't know if it got a little bit better or not. Okay, it's still blurry. It may just be the nature of things at this time of night. I mean, sometimes as we're not getting as much light, just didn't really see the flashes. Just don't look at it too much. It might kind of be a little bit hindrance here to you if you look at it too long, because it is pretty blurry now. But nonetheless, if it's the flash here, it might be worth it. So we'll keep this up for another few seconds to see. You can still kind of make out the cloud featured in the light. It's just kind of a little bit blurry there, and nowhere this time frame, but. Again, it's getting really dark out there, so that's part of the whole deal. But they're just flashes. There you go. So another flash there. Try to give you that. Again, nasty weather here. Just storming parts of Putnam County. Let's look at it. Let's look at it right now. Let's go down this way. Bear with me. I know. We're at 8:20 p.m. now. You can see here the storm pretty strong looking now north of Palatka. We're saying winds could be in excess of about 45, closer to 50 miles an hour with it. So there's something to kind of keep in mind. We're just gonna keep on tracking things here and giving you guys the very latest in this type of setup. Make sure this is one that this is by itself. We may have to watch it a little. May have to watch it a little bit. I mean, it almost looks like it wants to take on a supercellular characteristic almost. So since it's kind of further out ahead there, I wonder what the temperatures are in toward this area. So 77, they have 88 out of the east though, southeast. It heads in a direction. I mean, it's going to be, luckily the sun's going down, but I'll have to watch something like that a little bit. Let me see what the parameters are out there. Just have to kind of keep our eyes on that a little since it's out ahead, but the energy, there's still some energy. It's not like it's extreme numbers are kind of almost feeding off of down toward the Gulf Coast the other day, but then you have not much SCP over here either, which is good, but there's some supercells, so we'll have to watch it. You never know what can happen here as it gets close to the coast. I mean, this other stuff looks a little bit more, I guess you could say, in a conglomerate, and at this point, it seems like it's more about strong weather and maybe some isolated flooding potential, but that one storm out there ahead could start to strengthen on us if we're not careful. So we got to watch it. You don't see it as easy on that view, and then visible is going to be kind of losing it. Water vapor there, you can't see too much, make out too much there. But again, we'll just keep on watching things and keep on tracking things. I think we're going to go ahead now. I'll take our camera again to see maybe if it's cleared up a little bit. We'll try to give it another chance here. So it's just getting all dark. I think that's why it's doing what it's doing. But it's much about the sunset time frame now. We don't have night vision or anything on here, so definitely makes things a little bit tricky sometimes. You can see the flashes at least. I mean, probably last time I want to go to this, and then we'll just wrap it up. But thought we'd kind of show this to you a little bit more. Maybe again, when we're Thunder Roar, you want to go indoors in these type of situations. So it's kind of intriguing to go to. I know you almost make out some little artifacts on here, and sometimes you can see a little bit better. You can see a little bit better here on this side when it's not showing as much light. So sorry about that. Not the cleanest camera view sometimes, but you get the idea. I know the blurriness something that's just kind of happened live when we were on the air. But okay, they're not warning us about this storm around Palatka. They're seeing the same thing I am. Saying we may not want to wrap this up pretty much yet because they may have to issue a warning on it being all discreet like this around Palatka. They're watching this too, and they're getting kind of concerned because that's in an environment, but nothing like what we had at the Gulf Coast, but being so discreet like that, moving toward Palatka. May have to stick with this a few more minutes. I know it's not gonna be perfect, but that's kind of your direction on this. Maybe a little more into Palatka though. Just loop this around. Yeah, it's kind of diving maybe right into Palatka even. So got to be kind of careful there around Palatka with it because this is someone winds to 50 miles an hour, 3/4 size hail. So I'm gonna keep it with it, you guys, here until I get past Palatka. I know I've been on for a while here. Last several days, but I hate to get a warning on this here right when it's coming Palatka or something, and we're not on with you guys until maybe the damage or the impact's already wrapping up. So as long as it's not overwhelming them, you could stay on through Palatka with a warning if it was issued then, and then wrap if things started maybe weakening with it or it got into more rural areas. So, and it wasn't looking overwhelming. So just so you guys know, that's kind of where I'm going with this right now. The wind mode doesn't show it that well. It's just all by itself. I mean, it looked like it was trying to be involved a little bit more with some of the inflow there a moment ago anyway, but that's what it seemed like. That's inflow there. That's nothing. That's not debris. That's probably not hail. Let me double check. So we're just gonna watch it. That's just inflow though, obviously there. But yeah, they're saying it. This clip they're clipping this advisory. Some of northeast areas are, I guess they mean northwest area of Flagler County for now, but it does seem to have some stand power. So that means that could be an issue later. Let me try to get a trajectory on this again. So kind of track. It's kind of hard to track some of these, but maybe Palatka and maybe areas kind of like this, but you never know exactly. It could tip direction on us a little bit. That happens here. This happened before, and it'll continue to happen some, but happened quite a bit this week, especially in this pattern. New tornado warning in Oklahoma right now. Let's see that since this is a bigger national story. We're on our local focus, but Ellis and Harper, northwestern Oklahoma there, LaFern and May there under threat. And you see some destructive storms toward Kansas there. The Dodge City office issuing one for Seward, Finney, Meade, Gray, Haskell counties into 8:15 Central Time. 80-mile-an-hour winds there. Cimarron, Meade, Montezuma, Pierceville, Copeland. You kind of get the idea. Charleston there, so you're going to have to keep watching and keep tracking there. More thunder. And again, we just have to keep watching things here in the weather center. Now the hail track are picking up on this a little bit more, moving into Palatka now. Again, it's kind of, this shows it a little bit more easterly on that movement here in the trajectory. That sometimes this does a better job because the human eye, or at least my eyes, can't make out the direction perfectly sometimes. So maybe tracking more just north of town, possibly. It seemed like it was kind of diving on in a bit. So some margin for error, obviously. That's why the advisory is bigger and clipping parts of Flagler, but and could get further down later. But just got to kind of warn people the best you can, or advise people the best you can. But, so let's just kind of do it like this. East Palatka, maybe Yelmonton, this shot here that kind of try to move it over. Maybe Palm Coast. I mean, you kind of see it if it takes that type of track there that's been taken, maybe. Again, still watching things here. That latest scan actually a little bit weaker. So it kind of, it went from, I mean, it's going to change pretty quick, getting back up at 0.79 to 0.75 on the hail as we're looking toward Palatka. Again, watching this storm here. And it's always some other advisories as well. So we're going to keep our eyes on this. Let's see the other advisories while we're still on. There's there. This is kind of showing at least still some wind enhancement again around Keensley there. So you'll be able to see it a little bit. There's Keensley Lake and where Camp Landon there. And you can see, wrong computer. I apologize. Let's switch over. Yeah, this is me producing it. So I got to make sure I switch over. But there's your storm there. There's your rotation there. This right here. So you see your lake. You see Keensley Lake there. And then you can see our rotation. It's not really something like a tornado rotation. This may be some stronger wind that could get down out of this. South of west of Middleburg. So kind of is diving that direction, maybe more away from the more populated areas. But then we have Stark. We're about to get a light in here where we're at. I mean, I can always go back to that other shot, even though it's not going to be the clearest for us. And probably get some more stuff out of it. You can hear that thunder in the background. So I'm going to start now. I mean, kind of a nasty looking sky here at sunset, per se, for sure. Not used to seeing this all the time. I know it's not the best shot because we're seeing some of those artifacts on here. I think we're seeing a bug or something on there too. I'm not sure, but that may be what's getting it out of focus. But you get the idea here. Trying to give you guys the very latest with these flashes here. The flashes, you can definitely see the clouds even in here. Pretty interesting to see those clouds in this shot. I wouldn't generally stay with a shot like this if it wasn't really starting to maybe show some stuff. So that's why we're sticking with it here right now. See some flashes there. I mean, you must look, I mean, you can see the cloud cover. And pretty nasty there. Right now, I mean, you can see the darker cloud cover coming on into the picture here right now. This is a strong storm. I'm not seeing any rotation with it. The last check here, I'm seeing rotation in Keensley's area. Maybe a little bit of broad wind enhancement here on the latest scan. Coming in this dark, so we'll watch it, but probably only went to about 40, probably. I mean, so just kind of keep that in mind. It is a scary looking shot, though, nonetheless. But we'll just continue to watch it here for a little bit longer since we're still on. And I mean, it's coming right into town. I have some extra viewers joining us since we're watching this come right into town. I mean, it's a little bit strong. And we'll just kind of keep our eyes on it. You can kind of see here. We're right when we're losing all of it. We're losing the light, but you're able to kind of see the flashes. You're able to see the dark skies to some degree if you look at it, depending on your monitor and how you can make it out. I'm going to check another monitor to see what this looks like on there, because some monitors, they look a little bit different sometimes. These views here, yeah, it looks definitely a little bit different on other monitor here. So kind of intriguing. And we'll just keep watching. Maybe the trees moving a little bit as well. So again, I'm just trying to keep you guys advised here. Again, a unique view here right at sunset. We don't have a night vision mode on this, but see some of the different flashes here live as this comes in. It's dark, a strong storm, but not severe. Generally wouldn't like break in for this or anything, but since we've been on with other storms, we're watching that storm on Palatka, we're still kind of sticking with watching that. Might as well kind of see the view here a little bit, and we'll go ahead and keep looking. Again, this storm around Clay County looks a little bit interesting too. I mean, not for maybe a tornado, but just one enhancement. And then this here, See a little bit of wind enhancement down here. That doesn't look overwhelming, but there's still a little bit of it. Let's see, the core has dropped a little bit weaker on that, but we'll just keep watching it a little longer there when it's around Palatka and Putnam County. Let me go ahead and zoom back on up here. I hear the rain starting to fall more on start now. We're on the east side, so they're already been getting it there and Stark proper. So let's go ahead and go back on over to our camera shot then. Yeah, it's really getting dark now. You cannot make out hardly anything. It's really showing that sunset too in some ways tonight. Unique views. We'll be able to see the flashes though as they happen. I know you have some artifacts on here. It's just the nature of it. You'll be able to see some flashes here. Just really, hopefully this be lightning flashes here at this point is what we're expecting. It's really turning dark right at sunset on us. On timing, but that's how it works sometimes. But I know they're getting the heavy rain here on US 301, State Road 16, State Road 230, State Road 100. You kind of get the idea. At this moment, as we're pretty much, unless we get a flash or two here in a second, I'm going to have to, might as well just jump away from it because it's not going to see much anymore because we're right at that darkness point. So, I mean, if we maybe get a good flash here. Hopefully we don't because we don't want the lightning around here, especially not clouded ground, but if you see some big flash, it might be able to catch it real good. I'll give it another 30 seconds and then we'll let it be. But again, you can't really make much out anymore. So that's just how it works here. Get toward that nighttime period, more rural areas, certain ways to point things. I mean, other areas weren't well lit, of course, but this feed here not gonna be quite as well lit. But again, I know if you get sometimes if you have like motion, that might get lit for a second. The motion kind of with the motion lights and whatnot, you know, to see things a little bit better. But again, I should be right now. You hear the rain coming down, so I know as soon as we leave this, we'll get a big flash of light. There we go. There's a little bit. So at least kind of catching that there for a few moments. Just half a second or something like that. Okay, let's get back to the radar. There you go. You can see around Stark. Getting some heavy rain in it. This is their new advisory, but it's really predicated on Clay County now, that other area I was talking about. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a hook on here almost. Not something overwhelming, but I mean, there's enough for a new advisory because that's just interesting about we crossing over County Road 215 there pretty soon. Otherwise, we're turning on the ground in Beaver County, Oklahoma right now. But nothing around here like that. But there's your new advisory. You saw that pop up. Let me take this off so you can make that out a little bit. This is going to be for wind gusts up to 50, half-inch hail, excessive clouded ground lightning, and minor flooding to heavy rain. Middleburg, Kingsley, Camp Landon, Penny Farms, and Asbury Lake. So keep watching that. Make sure we don't get a warning out of that. If it kind of becomes a little more aggressive, it could get warned here over the next little bit. I know we're in Bradford County, but we were covering the Big Bend really carefully earlier on. First things look marginal, and then things really came together. Two storms coming together, and that caused a lot of problems there. I know right now that level of conversation's a lot looser, but it had to be a little bit tighter earlier on because we had a lot of problems there in eastern Leon, western Jefferson, a lot of power outages, trees coming down all over the place there, even causing some folks there to have to really be impacted there. We don't know the whole extent of the details here right now, so that's why I don't want to dive into it too much, but some cars may be trapped in the road because of trees falling, so might be impacted even in eastern Leon, so we'll kind of keep checking on that. You just kind of always need to hear stuff like that, but don't know the extent of it, if there's injuries or not. But again, looking at this storm catching my eye too. They're kind of out ahead a little. This one maybe, I mean, the latest scans don't look quite as favorable maybe. Let me go up a little in the tilts because you see a little bit more in the tilts there with it. You see the same, we're up in the tilt, and you see this kind of in the north. I'll go back down in the tilt now. And Clay. I know. Just trying to give you guys an idea of what's going on here in Clay County because it felt like this is something that could ultimately give us a warning. At least it's not headed like that Middleburg proper now. It looked like earlier, you know, it's kind of a little bit closer to you guys, but kind of making sure it's diving a little bit further south. It does seem like it's gotten a little bit stronger now, so could end up getting a warning there. This might not be something we have to come back on for if it's really in a rural area and not much stronger than this. So I'm kind of giving the heads up now. So this is a lot more rural out here than if it was headed up in this area. It's a lot more rural out here for sure, but I mean, you can kind of tell the topography, even to some degree. I mean, there's many farms out there, but kind of headed down here, it's more rural. This is a little more populated, obviously. Palatka didn't look quite as organized, maybe as it did. The cords kind of dropped on that a little bit as well. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We've been on for a while after the warnings. We don't normally do this, but just thought we would stick with it just in case we got some new warnings. Thought we might. We still could get them, but I think at this point we're going to go ahead and wrap it up on this stream. If we need to jump back on with another stream, we will. If we need to post about things, we will. We'll just keep watching things on the Gulf. We'll keep watching there too. I mean, that's some instability of some of this stuff. I mean, that storm there is moving southeast at 30. Let's see if this is a threat. It looks like it's going to go south at Franklin right now, but we'll watch it. See if anything, maybe you have to watch around Hillsborough, I mean, or something like that, or some of these other counties, like, at least some of these are out of our area, but I kind of always get worried. I mean, you know, I mean, especially, I say always, especially since yesterday morning, it seemed like it was a while ago with everything we've been dealing with, but just after what had happened in Taylor County with a couple of large tornado debris signatures, where we didn't really have a threat of watching play way into the night when nobody would have been awake hardly. That's why it's important to have multiple ways to get alerts. I see some advisories now for Hernando, Pasco. Maybe not these areas, even though there is some weak rotation there right over Brooksville, but, in Hernando County. But looking here out of our area, you can see some tornado perimeter bays a little higher, not as high as what we have, but these instability bays are edging in some. So just make sure you have multiple ways to get alerts. I know that risk there for some isolated tornadic activity does include Tampa there. You can see our slight risk there. It kind of goes further down to the south. There we had a bunch of thunderstorm warnings earlier in Central Florida, like this morning, even a tornado warning earlier this afternoon in Brevard. Of course, we got a confirmed tornado there. They sent some video out there, out from the Alabama to Florida line area, much more rural, but nonetheless, been a busy period. Pensacola, all that rain around Escambia County. So I know we're hearing the rain around Stark right now. Let's get back on in. This is not severe. This is not even considered strong anymore. But right over Stark here, you can see all the different roads. State Road 16, State Road 230, and then 301. Some of the worst starting to move off of that, but you can kind of get the idea. And let's continue to watch things here progressing, and that has my eye. I mean, that were to tighten, that could be either a severe warning, or I mean, even the way this could really, really tighten. It could even get us a tornado warning real quick here. Hopefully not, but it's a little more rural now. But we'll just keep watching it, keep tracking it. Strong storm out here, moving southeast at 15. We'll watch that there. Let's run I-10 there. Excuse me, I-75. We've been doing this too long. I apologize. So there's your I-75 corridor. There's I-10. There's I-95. So again, continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. Let's switch over this map real quick to Oklahoma since there's a confirmed tornado in Beaver County because it's a big national threat out there. No, we haven't had time to focus on the national threats, and they haven't been just overwhelming. That one in North Texas Panhandle was kind of renegade in nature, per se. And then I know we've had the power outages so substantial though, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and then they go a period here. They go a period with all the heat down there, and that can lead to fatalities. People don't get stuff to drink and stay cool with. But again, this right here, look at they extended this as a radar indicated. Well, okay, they called it confirmed later on, so to check that, that's incorrect. But, so this has just been confirmed here in just the last few moments. Broadcast media 6 miles west of Laverne, moving east at 40 miles an hour. So right in here, confirmed based on broadcast media. The radar coverage may not be that great out here, but so at least we can't see something really definitive there. But let's get back on over to our other view. I know probably gonna wrap it soon. I know the minute we wrap this up, I'll have a situation arise on it that's a little bit more impactful, possibly. There's a couple storms there that I've been watching. Just always stick with it here a little bit longer, just in case the week it's been. You know, you just never know what could happen sometimes. Trying to switch to our computer source here. Let me just go ahead and look at this storm again in Clay County. We'll go back on over here. Go back on over. This is east of Kingsley right now, for the most part. I mean, you have the lake kind of on the edge of it, but so these are like winds of maybe 30 down here and 20 up here, and then down toward the south, around Palatka, Putnam County. We'll watch that too. So Again, we still have stuff to watch. There's just no warnings. Haven't been warnings in play for a while. We've been seeing them a lot longer. We generally would without warnings. This is, excuse me, some of the stuff looks a little bit closer to warnings. We had warnings out west. We've been talking about in Texas, Oklahoma, and the like. And we've had the warnings. We tried about all that damage again. That was substantial stuff that we had come through there earlier. In fact, let's get a loop ready. That might be a good way to wrap this up here, as long as we don't get any new warnings on us. I'm gonna go ahead and get a loop going here. It's just been such a week of warnings. You know, I'm surprised when there's no warnings in play for a little while, but we did get kind of lucky with a couple of time frames not having to come on necessarily, since we didn't have any warnings Southwest Georgia last night. And this morning, Levy looked like it could have had a situation that would have maybe started to warrant one, but I didn't quite get to that. But we did have over 1,000 customers out power there at one point in that area this morning from that morning round of storms. Ocala may get lucky and miss out on some of the heaviest rain this round, and it had all that rain this morning. I know this loop will kind of see that here. This radar loop. Here you go. So you can kind of see how all those icons, there are all those thunderstorm reports there around eastern Leon and Jefferson just clustered together. I mean, we had like one in Gadsden maybe, but we didn't really come on for that. It was more isolated, more like summertime, and then a lot less like summertime, a lot more like the pattern we've been in as we got toward Leon and Jefferson. Other areas not seeing something just overwhelming. Again, tomorrow when I'm more dry air, try to work in, maybe kind of maybe get back to a nastier pattern to an extent Monday, but then eventually, looking at the latest model and it kind of stuff will sit around, but maybe eventually moisture from the south will come in and be more rain chances still. Wetter conditions in some ways, but maybe not as much severe weather, especially not as much tornadic weather. I know at one point we were thinking maybe something would develop in the tropics from that direction. Probably not at this point. I know there's something else that we're watching in the tropics that could get to be named if it were to come together. That's way too far away to dive into at this point, especially given the week we've had. So don't want to really worry about that at this point out there, but going to get more moisture coming in from the tropics, if you want to call it that, here in the south as we look ahead next week. That'll be more of what you get sometimes this time of year versus a complete opposite where we've had that stream in play, and then that mixes. That's the jet stream you get when you have severe weather in the winter, and instead you have instability just surging up here, mixing with that, causing all sorts of problems. It's a very, very big anomaly. It's something you just don't ever really get around here, and still causing some more problems today. The overall patterns we've been seeing here in play. I know with the areas there, Leon, Jefferson counties being impacted there with a pretty substantial situation. So I'm going to check our velocity one more time as we're leaving with the loop. The storm and clay, we're still watching. It looks a little more disorganized right now. So that's good, but we'll watch it. You may try to get closer to Green Cove. I see more rural areas, but if it edges a little bit east there, it could try to get closer to Green Cove. Not the most populated city in that county, but it is the county seat actually. And then Palatka, not seeing much. Moving toward Yelvington. I'm looking at that on our other view here, and we'll just keep on looking at things. But I think that's going to do it for now. Thanks so much for tuning in, trusting me. If we need to jump back, and we will. Hopefully we get lucky with the storms as we look ahead. I know tomorrow's Father's Day. Monday there is Juneteenth, and then we'll just hope that the weather holds out for then as well. But it may start to get a little stormier again around on that Monday based on some of our model guidance. But just going to go ahead and wish you guys a happy next couple of days here from the Weather Center. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully we don't have to come back tonight or the end of days to come. But I know that one area in Clay County, if you look at this loop here a little closer, looks like it's starting to become more part of that mass maybe. And same with Putnam, which could help maybe it's starting to weaken this threats. And that'd be positive news here. Still watch the word of south too, because there's a little bit more of a chance. I feel like we could get something down there, maybe outside of our area even. Maybe it does clip Levy as I look at this. And I kind of look a little bit closer. Maybe it clips Levy or something like that. But we'll have to just see because this parameters after what happened. If you weren't with us in the overnight, you may want to watch that stream again. That was just remarkable. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I've been around here a long time watching weather. That early Friday time frame, it's titled the flash flooding stream for Pensacola, the first one. The second one started to slack off on some of the stuff after we've been on for a while. Had a little bit of a break. Then we started getting a few more warnings, a few more tornado warnings still, but kind of continued in that one. But that first stream, we transitioned into a tornado warning. Thought we might have a third of a couple, so we were ready to come on either way, and we started with the flash flooding because we hadn't had any, and then we had an onslaught. I mean, we had over a dozen tornado warnings between those two videos there, and not a full rest, no tornado watch. We had two PDS tornado warnings, two different big debris signatures. One was on the ground for 30 minutes, but I haven't had any actual survey done on that because that might have been more rural areas. And then we had one hit Perry there in the Ward Taylor County there. And EF1 was confirmed toward that area. So, and of course, that's on top of what we had, where we had just hour after hour after hour in terms of southwest and south central Georgia on that Wednesday there. So just gonna hope everybody is staying safe the best as possible here. But for now, meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center, here to look at all the platforms we're on. Of course, if you're watching there on these different platforms, keep in mind there YouTube. And you can back the stream up a little, see if you missed something that I was talking about earlier on that you wanted to hear. When I'm on, I mean, later on you can back all of them up, but that's at Cloud Weather, so hit that subscribe button on there if you want to on that platform. If you haven't done so already, I appreciate that. I appreciate you watching here on all the platforms that we have. Facebook, Casey Cloud WX, Cloud Weather, Twitter at Cloud Casey. You have Twitch, Cloud Weather. I know it's always important to keep all these in mind in case one of them has a problem. One day when we really have a big threat, you have cloudweather.com that has all the links as well on the top of that page, and the auto alerts there. Cloud_WX. I know we still have nasty weather around. Maybe not severe weather, but still nasty. Still kind of don't want to be out on the road if you can help it in Bradford and Alachua and Clay right now. This moderate rain at times, Mickelson and past sunset could still lead to some accidents and the like. So just keep that in mind here as we're watching things from the Weather Center. So thanks so much for tuning in for now. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here and watching things, tracking things here. You just see everything we have. I know that auto alert account it's been talking about all the different threats we've been dealing with. As we've been looking back here over the last several days, all those different tornado warnings in the Tallahassee and Jacksonville County warning areas. I mean, a few that we don't cover on the year necessarily toward Alabama, but we of course have a covered map we've shown you guys many times there of the 62 counties we do cover. There's no way to exclude some of those. And the only one that didn't go over is Levy on that account in our area, but we always make sure we post extra stuff for that if that threat arises. It's some more substantial over there. So there's a look at that. Have a great night, everybody. Hopefully we won't have to come back. We'll be watching down toward Tampa, make sure nothing, down toward Hillsborough and some of those counties. Just make sure something doesn't come together. You just never know. Maybe even a flood threat of some training. If that stuff tries to train on, and you kind of see that train there a little bit. Hopefully things work themselves in a good direction now. For now, have a great night.